Hello, I'm your host of the Seeking Heaven channel, Tamara Richardson. I'm a six-time near-death experiencer, evidential medium, and Syrian angelic starseed, and welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, tell your friends, share, and also check out my sponsor school, Ascension School, called academyofdivinewisdom.com. And you can look at the events and courses, and they're all available for replay, so you can learn and also have some entertainment along the way that is also educational at your own pace. So let me go ahead and just dive right in today with our speaker. I'm very thrilled and honored to be able to have our speaker today. And I've also been on their YouTube channel, and we're going to put all the links below so you can be in contact with my guest. And I want to introduce my guest right now, and that would be Vaughn Galt. Now, Vaughn, she is an author of several books. She's writing her third one now, but she is the author of Buddhist Mandalas. And I think I have an image here. Here we go. The Buddhist Mandalas explore parallel realities with sacred geometry. And we're going to talk about this and her spirituality and her background and her journey. She is also the author of Buddhist Mandalas, the Christ consciousness of multi-dimensional mandalas. If you get an idea, Vaughn she's deep. I mean, she is just so much there. And then, of course, she's writing her new book, The Buddhist Guide to Manifest Parallel Realities. And you're going to learn a lot more about her. I'm going to bring her on, and she can tell you more about her today. We're going to talk about Vaughn's spiritual journey and how she went from learning about how she before her books, her spiritual journey, being a Buddhist, and to now how she is really helping star seeds pick their life in the astral state. So there's so much there with her. So let me bring her on. Hello, Vaughn. How are you?
Hi, Tamara. How are you?
Good. You look beautiful as always. I think the first time that you interviewed me on your YouTube
That was
channel,
a delight.
tell everybody your YouTube channel.
Well, the YouTube channel is Merkaba Chakras. It's also on Rokfin.com, so you can get it early on Rokfin. And sometimes some of the episodes are really insightful, and you can get kind of ahead of the curve and watch the episodes there a week ahead of time. And then it'll drop on YouTube, it'll drop on
Okay.
7 other video sharing sites and 100 different podcasts websites as well. So most of it is listened to in Asia.
Right. That's what you said. So your audience, although, I mean, it's interesting. One of the things that you invited me to be on your channel, which I had a wonderful time. I was very grateful for that. And then you can see the episodes with me on there. Gosh knows what we talked about. We talked about so much crazy stuff. I was like, Vaughn, not only are you really intelligent and you've really applied yourself spiritually, but you're a huge character and so funny. I mean, you're very entertaining. No wonder you have a big audience. So, and you could talk about essentially everything. And I'm like, you're a hidden gem, and you really are a starseed. We compared, and honestly, uh, you come from the Buddhist
Ooh.
background, which we're going to get into. I don't tell many people, but I'm an ordained Christian minister as well as evidential medium and channeler. But I come to the same place that you are, and it is a place of love and neutrality, and balance. And it's really not about religion, but our spiritual journey. So I want you to start with your spiritual journey wherever you want to. I mean, you got such a big
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can see my screen is already doing this weird cut off thing. I don't know. It happens when for whatever reason, when I start talking about topics that are a little bit sensitive,
uh-oh.
the video file just starts acting wonky. So, and it happens on my podcast as well. So you guys bear with it. They don't want you to know. So, and the other thing that's really funny too is like we're using StreamYard. I've used Zoom and other things, and when we're talking about certain topics that had asterisks on it, the video will it looks like it'll start flashing. It looks like it's taking pictures of us. Watch the Macabre Chakras episode I just had about the secret space program and finding out that through quantum hypnosis and counseling.
Oh my God.
On the Merkaba Chakras podcast, but you'll see like when we start talking about certain subjects, it just starts flickering and flashing at us, and it was just so we
Well,
have to kind of work with these kind of
well,
stuff. But
you
that's when you
guys,
know you got some good stuff there.
yeah, you got some good mojo. Well, I always do it. Well, here's the thing. Part of it's our energy, and part of it's our team saying, "Hey, we're here." I did something with Washayla Sananda, and we got a transmission. It was going through, whoa, whoa,
I love that.
whoa, whoa. Oh yeah, and you see UFOs. Do you know? Literally, I've been calling. We'll talk about the UFOs too, because we're going to do several episodes. You got to make sure you see them all, because let me tell you what, Vaughn is full of rich spiritual information, and really fun and entertaining. So we're going to go on this roller coaster ride together. But you see UFOs like I do. I've been seeing them all week. I mean, like fully flashing. They're there and they go ziggy, 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 jack. And then they're over there. And I even brought my husband outside, and he's looking at me like, yeah, right. And he's going, that's not a star. And I'm like, no
Ah,
kidding. I'm like, I'm like, it's
yeah.
huge. And I'm like, yeah, it's
Well,
communicating, and you get it too.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. My favorite are the ones that is a three-dimensional pyramid that is in the shape of a cloud, but it has a base and sides. So, so it's like the only cloud in the sky where there's no other clouds, but there's this pyramid-shaped cloud moving around. That's my favorite. But I live underneath a portal in the sky where these objects come through.
That's what you said. Now I mean, I'm not giving your exact location. Not that
No,
we're
it's
all
okay.
you can't Google Earth us. I prefer them not do that. But what region are you? What portal are you near?
Um, I am I am here in the Seattle area, but I am up north of actually maybe yeah, north of Seattle. So I'm over in the Puget Sound where Whidbey Island, Hat Island, Everett, the Boeing plant, the Tulalip Casino, Camano Island, that little circle area is the inlet circle area, and then through that it goes out into the ocean through the San Juan Islands into the ocean. And so a lot of baby orcas and mama orcas, they come in through the ocean and they kind of like to circle around because it's nice and warm during the summers and they kind of
Mhm.
go back out. But there's been a new phenomenon that people are reporting, and I saw it myself. My husband and
Hmm.
I saw it ourselves on our boat when we were jetting around in September in the fall. Is there are black dolphins coming through
Huh.
now by 2, and they I don't know if they're black, but they look black,
Okay.
and they come out of the water, and you see their whole body, and they go back in, and they come out, and you see, and they go back
Oh,
in.
they're magical dolphins.
Yeah, and they're just circling around at that specific area,
Wow.
where people have all around have been saying they've been seeing UFOs, they've been seeing weird clouds hover in that area, and so that's a portal point in the sky that they're
And
coming through,
water
and
too.
water.
Water.
I had this I did a interview, and with three other two other podcasters that live in this area, and my theory is this is just a theory, so I have discernment. I wonder if because we know scientifically that dolphins will send out information, through a sonic, they go, "Boop, boop, 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 boop," it'll send out information,
Yeah,
and then other
frequency.
dolphins a
Yeah,
frequency.
do that again. It's beep 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 beep.
It's like you see a bubble. And then they send out they have proven this in science. They send out a frequency in the water, and then other dolphins will receive that information. And of course, we all know I swim with dolphins, and so we all know that when dolphins are super happy, they have a very distinct
It's true.
sound.
It's true. Yeah, they're
So
like, "Yay, yay, yay, yay,
yeah,
yay."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I get it. I get it. I get it. Well, anyways, these black dolphins are coming through the specific area, and where there's a portal in the sky where UFOs are coming through, and if you're the frequency, you'll see them. If you're not the frequency, you won't see them. Some neighbors are seeing them while they're standing with other neighbors that aren't seeing them because they're not in that frequency to see it. It's a whole frequency thing. But
Mhm.
I wonder if the dolphins are coming through to either send a message frequency to the UFOs, or the UFOs are sending a message to them and they're taking it and then going out to sea with it. Because dolphins, from what I know,
You're
are
intelligent.
warm water creatures. Why are they coming up to the Pacific Northwest, all the way up here where it's cold water?
Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, I don't know. Dolphins are they're very magical. There was a lady that I know, Ann Archer Butcher. It's in her book. I don't know. She would be good also on. I got to have her on. But not I know her. She's a friend, but she has a book. What is it? Your inner guidance. I can't think. I probably got that wrong. Your birth, Ann Archer Butcher. Anyway, she was in Hilton Head. Actually read her, and all this came up. I didn't know who she was. And then I read her book, and she said, "I'm out there." Read her book. I loved it, and it's all spiritual encounters, synchronicity, but amazing ones, right? Like meeting an elephant in your backyard, kind of amazing. But she was in Hilton Head drowning. Basically, she was swimming, but she got under the toe, and then she started, and she was. That was going on. She was trying to get back. She was trying to dodge. She looked like a shark.
Mm-hmm.
And she was trying to figure out how to get back, and she was worried about making it back. I guess she swam too far out, and 3 dolphins came up, scooped her up, took her to the shore, put her body on her to the shore. I mean, they're quite intelligent and
They're
magical.
mammals. They're mammals. The mammals of the sea.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
which we could get into Lemuria, but before we
We
go
can get into
well,
that Lemuria episode because
before
they
we
do
go
factor
way
in.
down the cosmic railroad tracks.
Start getting into mermaids and in
Yeah.
Lemurian folklores of Buddhism.
Which I love. I'm totally for. Okay, but I want to hear about you. But as
Yes.
people are watching, you can see how much fun, how delightful this is. I mean, you don't know what's going to come up when we're talking, but you just don't. But I want to hear about your journey. You've written these books; they're beautiful covers, and so just start with that, and then
Yeah, my
Buddhist
background.
and Buddhism. And you said, for us, I want you to go into a little bit how did the advanced Buddhism, and then how you kind of even went past that into other cosmic areas, which I find really interesting.
Right. Okay, so I'm short. I am Laos. I am from the Hmong tribe of Laos. And it's in northern Laos where you have the plain of jars and it's like hundreds of megalithic jars that some are 15 or 30 feet tall. They look like jars with lids on it. And the folklore in that area is that they were kind of a Super Bowl party for a bunch of giants that used to live in the area. Well, the Hmong tribe, according to the folklore of the Hmong tribe, is that we ended up in the higher mountains because of diaspora from a mega flood from the continent of Mu.
Okay.
And one of the Polynesian islands has the Ha'amunga Maui, I think, like megalithic statue, Ha'amunga. So anyway, so there's a lot of link there, and I've already done my DNA ancestry and everything else, and I am part Polynesian as well. But it was so long ago that people forgot that we were from the islands. So anyways, these people, diaspora, among many others in ancient times, had to either go up to the mountains where all the pyramids and megaliths are on the very tippy tops, or get to anywhere that there's high ground. And those were the ones that survived. And over time, we became we're kind of like Native Americans, but in Laos. We're like
Absolutely.
unrecognized Native Americans, but unrecognized
No,
Hmong people of Laos.
not
So we
true.
don't have our own territory. That's what I'm saying. We don't have our
Well,
own
no,
like
that might be true, but I will say
reservation.
that I did see that represented. Believe it or not, I went to in Washington D.C. They have I don't know if it's American, but the Native Indian Museum. I don't know what the Indian Historical Museum. Anyway, Indian or Native Indians can be from anywhere. They can be from
Oh,
Alaska. We were all kind of pretty much so that. And they showed the Polynesian ones. They showed the Cherokees,
mhm.
and they showed
We
ones that
migrate around. We migrate around.
Aztecs,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, "Oh, you consider them Indians." Well, think about it.
Mm.
Yeah, we kinda all were native at some point, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm. Yeah.
they did cover that. I was
That's
surprised they covered
good.
the whole world. I thought
I
it'd just
like
be
that.
America. Isn't that cool? Yeah, they
That
did.
that's evolution. We're finally starting to evolve
You're
and stop trying
finally
to
acknowledged.
suppress.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I like to hear that when they're where they're disclosing things and not suppressing it, because evidence has always been there. It's just they don't want you to see. So anyway, so I'm from the Hmong tribe of Laos, and the Hmong tribe of Laos has had these uh truths, according to the tribe, their stories of their lineage. And over thousands of years, over time, Buddhism came into the area, and then Buddhism would incorporate the folklores. Or the historical folklores of the people of the area, because it was very important to them how they ended up here and what happened to
Sure.
their culture, and all of that. And these folklores are mixed into Buddhist folklores, and so they're documented because this is part of our journey.
Sure.
It's a spiritual journey, because the continent of Mu is a spiritual continent of people of spirit of high sixth senses and spirituality. So it's natural to kind of incorporate it into Buddhist folklore. And you see these folklores all over all Buddhist temples in Asia. You also see it in temples in India, going back to ancient Vedic Hinduism as well.
Really?
But there's a lot of these artwork in a lot of Buddhist temples. So when I was growing up, I was born into Buddhism, as that is the tradition, spiritual tradition that my family is. So I was born into Buddhism. And as a kid, instead of sitting around listening to chants, which I did plenty of those, and listening to basic lectures of how not to be a douchebag, not to create negative karma and get stuck in the wheel of dharma and all that kind of stuff, which many
Okay.
people are still working on, so which is
Yeah.
fine.
Well.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Everybody's at different levels of consciousness.
True.
Um, I got bored, and so as a child, I would start leaving my family to go wander the monasteries, wander the temples, go play in their lotus pond with the ducks,
Mm.
go roll by myself. I would
I could
study
see
all the
that.
art. I know, I would study all the artwork, just sit there and just look at the artwork. I would
Mhm.
crack open all their books. And as a little kid, I don't really know what I'm reading, but I look at the artwork.
Sure.
And the thing is that the senior monks and the senior monks with the senior monks, they usually are the one facilitating the lectures of the day. And so it is the student monks that's usually wandering around the property to make sure the kids don't destroy it during during the lectures. And so oftentimes there's this little girl wandering around studying all the artwork and just bumping around. And so I would ask them questions and they would give me answers to these questions. And I got a completely different um more metaphysical understanding of Buddhism from studying the artwork throughout my life at these
Hmm.
monasteries, and basically Q&Aing and interviewing the student monks the whole time. And so I have incorporate these into my books. I explained everything. Um, and so that's kind of where, I mean, I'm familiar with the basic Buddhism, but then the advanced Buddhism comes from the art history of it. And it sounds like a
Okay.
sci-fi movie, very fantastical, which we'll get into some of this stuff. But I didn't just study it for a little bit. I'm 43 years old. I've been studying this stuff for 43 years old. I've been immersed in it. Um, Now the thing is that this would happen every time I would go into a monastery or a temple, whether it was in Laos or in Thailand, whether it was here in the States or in in Washington State, in different states. This would happen all the time. I would come in with my family, and the senior monk will be in the middle of chant or the middle of lecture, and they would immediately stop and they will look around and try to locate where where is the high frequency individual? Where is the teacher? Where is the teacher? So the teacher just walked in. And these monks, they do this all the time where they're meditating and raise their
Mhm.
frequency and consciousness. And so we would walk in and they would immediately stop and they would always tap their next to kin in the hierarchy to continue the lecture so they can try to locate and like kind
Okay.
of hone in like where is the teacher that came through? Where is the high frequency person? And they eventually locate my family, and then afterwards they would ask it to have us sit in front of him.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and then they would be like, it's got to be the dad. So then they would sit there and like look at my dad
But it was
And
you.
and they would try, yeah, and they would try to kind of hone in on his frequency, and they're like, "Mm, no, no, all wrong, all wrong. No, no. It's got to be the mom. She's always at temple. Always, there's these
Right.
ladies that are always at temple, and that's my mom, always trying to learn. So she's always at temple, and they're sitting there going, it's not right, just not right. And then it just process of elimination. It'll come down to me, and they'll just be like, "What?
Yeah.
I I
Yeah.
don't
But see,
get it. This little girl."
mm,
And then they were like, "Do you have something to tell us or to teach us?" And I'm like, you're doing fine." I don't know. I was a little girl. And so they would just be dumbfounded, and they'd be like, "That's she's the one, she's supposed to be teaching the message of the Dharma."
so they got
Um,
that. Oh my
they
gosh.
go see all the senior monks, every single one of them, and they're like, "But she's not ready for whatever reason to present it. She doesn't know it. It doesn't come, but the frequency is still
You were
there."
still a child. You were
It's still,
still
yeah.
yeah, you were still
It's,
growing and learning. You still had this body, you still had this world to deal with.
see, here's the thing with frequencies, okay? Because to all in Buddhism, all time exists at the same present moment.
Oh,
Okay?
that's cool.
All
Well,
time
that's
exists,
actually true. Yes, there is no such
yeah.
thing. Okay, go ahead.
But we only see linear time because we're focusing on one at a time.
You're right.
But source incarnate into everything exists
Yeah.
all at once.
Yes.
Okay. So anyways, but all exists all at once in one big bubble reality. And we're all bubbles as well. But anyways, the thing is that if you know about frequencies, like let's say you've ever used a Royal Rye frequency machine or any kind of frequency machine, what they ask for like a nail clipping or some kind of DNA sample of the person that you're going to send healing frequencies to. And that person doesn't have to be physically at that location. They could be around the world. They could be another planet. It doesn't matter. Anybody with that DNA or that specific frequency of DNA is going to get the energy healing. Okay. So it reverberates to everybody that has that DNA is going to get the energy healing. It's the same thing with consciousness. So when
Right.
you are a high consciousness at some point in your existence, every version of you in the multiverse has that same frequency, whether they
I got
know
it.
it or not. It just
That's
kind of
cool.
reverberates all throughout. So that, well, a little bit going a little bit into
We're we're
the
gonna do the
science of
mer
that.
we're going to do a whole show just on the multiverse and interdimensionality, so it's gonna blow your mind.
And your
Yeah,
Merkabas, yeah. So
and
anyways,
Merkabahs, lots of Merkabahs, 'cause
yeah, so
I'm obsessed with Merkabahs. They're all over the house. That name's
yeah.
a win.
So anyways, but that's what the senior monks and all the temples and monasteries I've gone to were picking up, is they're picking up that teacher energy.
Got it.
But that teacher energy was still a child because the energy reverberates through time and space.
Mhm, they
Okay.
knew. They
They
knew.
knew. They just like, okay, can you just teach us what you get, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Here's the thing. So I grow up and I have my normal, I'm just a normal American gal with an immigrant family, all that kind of stuff, dating boys, doing the high school, all that, going to college. So I went to college, and right around this time is when social media and websites were coming out. And a lot of my favorite monks and nuns were starting to put their content on websites and online, so I would follow them. And then there was an initiative that the Dalai Lama really supported, and many other prominent monks and nuns were supporting, is to go into academia and participate in mindfulness, consciousness, and meditation research, just to see, what if the stuff that we've been studying is true? How can we fill in the holes? How can we clarify things? Because it's an evolving thing. There's no
Yes.
gospel, and nothing is gospel. It's
Yeah.
an evolving understanding of consciousness and how we create
Yes.
physical reality from a
Yeah.
consciousness through mindfulness, meditation, etc. So this initiative was happening. I was following all this research. And over the course of 20 years of following this research, I had gotten so much research from academia that it completely supported my childhood understanding of metaphysics from studying all the art history in the monasteries. And so that's what brought me into talking about metaphysics, consciousness, energy healing, because this is all the stuff that is in the artwork. Because what happens over time is people become illiterate, but in order to store knowledge, you put it in art. And art has like a picture tells like a thousand words. Art will display the information. And so if you study the art and then you finally get the scientific information to understand, then you see the art from a different perspective. It's a teaching tool. So that's how I got into it.
So I want to talk about the covers of your book too. So because you're really talking about the sacred geometry, about the what is the Merkaba. People have different. I mean, I know there's different religions that talk about the Merkaba and being a little chariot and carrying you places. Although it can do a lot of other things, and I'd like to get your understanding of what that is, and also through the art, what they were trying to communicate through sacred geometry. And for those of you watching that don't know, any type of sacred geometry is not just a symbol or a form. In my understanding, and I want to see what you think, but my understanding is communication, number one. Number two is living communication, and it's also transformative, and it's somewhat like a portal.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, what can you,
That's true. That's true.
you put your definition on what you think sacred
Yeah.
geometry, and then kind of take it from the Merkaba Buddhist point of view?
Right, right. So the other thing, really quick, about my background, my Buddhist background, is that I know we talked about a little earlier that a lot of people think it's just all about the monks and the guys kind of thing, but it's not. It's not.
You're not a
There's
dude.
there is yeah, obviously, um, and there is
You're a
a
pretty
lot.
one, if so.
Thank you. There's a lot of female teachers, master teachers in Buddhism that many of the monks revere, and respect. The Dalai Lama, his favorite is the Bodhisattva Kuan Yin. Okay, a lot of them, the Mahayana Buddhism of coming back to help humanity ascend and raise their frequency so that we can all walk through the gate to nirvana together, because we have infinity to do it. So what's the rush? That comes from Kuan Yin, and that's
Okay.
that's the Bodhisattva journey. So, anyways, there's lots of female ones, and they are my book covers for a reason,
All right.
but I
All
bring that
right.
artwork
There they
now.
are.
Yeah,
Leaders
that I
turn away.
love that one. Now, here's the thing I wanted to drop really quick before I forget. So, the senior monks, when they located who the high energy frequency was, this little girl who was going to share profound metaphysical information about the spirit world and this whole thing that we're doing, they said, in the spirit world, you are a pre-life planner. Okay. And a pre-life planner is kind of like a travel agent when you're going to go on vacation. So if you're going to go on a vacation to any specific area, you typically go to, if you're smart, you'll typically go and do some research so that you can get the most bang for your buck, pick out the excursions you want, etc. Pick out the life lessons if you want to evolve spiritually. There's a whole element to planning your excursion, your vacation. That's what we call it, a
Right.
sojourn. So I'm a pre-life planner in the spirit world. My specialty is ancient souls. Now, ancient souls have had a couple go arounds in different incarnations, and ancient souls may not have had all their go arounds as a human on Earth.
Mhm.
So I specialize in ancient souls that want to come into the Earth experience. And so I help them um, kind of rough draft guide their pre life plan before they reincarnate into this reality. And that's what all the senior monks kept saying over and over again, because they're like, can you tell me, am I on my
Uh,
way?
Really? That's funny. Well, let me ask you this. Okay. So I want to get a clarification, especially people watching with a couple. Ancient would be, we're talking about off planet stuff, like
Off
talking
planet, right from
Earth,
source.
yeah, back to either source energy as well, ancient. It could be, and Oh gosh, we're already going down this rabbit hole deep. Look, I'm
You can't
trying
help
to
it. It's just,
compartmentalize it. We can't help it.
it can't help it. It's all convoluted journey.
Okay, so we're going there already. So okay. So which means that we can be you do have guides, you have angels, you have all that. I say team God, right? Okay, fine. Your divine staff. Okay. We have that.
Everybody has a posse.
They got a God posse. I always say that. You got a
a
God
posse.
okay. But we also have, like, I know with me, I'm very busy and I'll wake up and I'm healing people. I'm doing this. I even have people from different languages write me and give me stuff saying I was there. I'm like, I've had people like the guy did my facial asked me, I was like, yeah, because you came and visited me. So I don't remember all this. Okay. But I'm doing light grid stuff. So we have little projects we're working on. We don't always consciously, because we're multidimensional. I'm going to leave that right there right now. Multidimensional. We're going to go there later. But because of that, we can act like, okay, here we are in human form. Okay. Whatever star seed race we came from, let's just say human right now for the sake of things. Even if we're hybrid, we're just going to say human. Okay. And then from there, we can still be in our etheric or our astral travel, or whatever you want to call it. Or okay, we're back to interdimensionality, but in that travel, let's just stick to one dimension right now, that we can be people's guides too. And because we're very busy, and that's also what you're doing. So people, we do a lot. I mean, there's multiple versions of on us. My goodness, probably on different planets, different dimensions. Then there's different timelines of the same version of this. It's really complicated.
Well, that's why that's why it's always recommended just work on your
right now.
Right now. Just work on the present incarnate. Just focus on just focus on the joyride you picked out in the amusement park and try to have a great time in that one joyride that you're present in right now. Don't go on the joyride and start looking around and where you're going to go next, and because then you completely missed out on the ride you chose. So
yeah, boy, that's actually very powerful. And I love how you use humor, because I'm do the same. I laugh and I'll say things, but if you listen, there's actually wisdom in there. And you do that too. And the reason is because people, I don't know if you notice, but a lot of people out in the world here, especially material world, they're sometimes too serious. And so it's hard to receive a spiritual message if they're all locked up and, all, spiritually constipated. They need, when you write
like constipated. Well, it's making the opposite of spiritual constipated is spiritual ego. So I want to address this because this has come up as well. There's this I'm not sure if it's a misconception or a stereotype, whatever label you want to put in that, but this notion that if you're spiritual, that you gotta look, or especially if you're Buddhist and spiritual, you gotta look like you just came out of a mountain and not be cleaned up. Yeah, you gotta be robed up. No makeup, no jewelry, no
no flowers in your hair. Oh my God, no feathers.
I love this. I'm making
no
myself.
Oh my gosh, no bling. This is horrible.
I know. Yeah, right. You're just projecting your own insecurities in what you think is spiritual.
And project it on the other people too, because people try to do that to me, which, same thing. And I'm like, nah. And I think you can be many things. You can
be whatever you want with this upgrade. It's the modern times. Upgrade yourself. Okay.
Get with it.
Get with it. We don't all have to look like
grid.
Right. We don't
off the grid. Get back on it.
Exactly. We don't all have to look like
the crystalline
grid.
Crystalline grid.
right. So anyways, that's a stereotype that people need to kind of move beyond. But because the thing is that based off of what they produce. Okay? So what they produce, the quality of work and the level of energy that their work produces, how it affects other people, how not just like other people is affected, but other people become teachers from being in contact with them. It elevates other people. Other people take it and carry the torch. You
come on now.
Yeah, their work.
Come on.
I know. It's so funny. But their works is a reflection of their energy field. Okay.
Oh,
And
yes.
so that's how that's how you evaluate the material is like what is the effect it's having on others. And
And I'm
not just the effect it's having on others, but a really good teacher is one that teaches, sits back, and wants to learn from their students or their peers, which is one of my favorite things. Is I don't want to be up there talking all the time. You
oh,
teach me
yeah.
something, you
Well, that's
know?
about being having humility. I know for it was I added it up. It pretty much so sucked. 18 years they told me to teach. I'm like, ain't doing it. Too much responsibility. People are going to
Yeah,
act crazy. And then finally, I'll go to, and then they said, you don't have to be responsible. They're responsible for themselves. I'm like, I don't know about that.
yeah,
And then I'm like, well, who am I to say whatever? And then because look, first of all, you forget who you are. Number two, we're going to tell you exactly what to say. And I
yeah.
went, like when? He goes, like all the time, like we do now. And I'm like, oh, okay. But the thing is, I think it is a turn off. I think when some people go, I'm this, I'm that. But at the same time, it's important that we all follow our heart and walk into our power. Because when we empower and love ourselves, we can love other people. And didn't we just say before we started this episode, I said, look, if I believe in someone genuinely, I try to promote them. I do it. And we're trying to build this star seed community of people that are all doing different things helping. They all have their specialty,
Yeah,
right? They all have their, and we're pulling it together, and it's just amazing. And
yeah,
so I think if we all felt confident in ourselves, that everybody should do that. Like, I love you're different than me, but yet we have a lot of similarities. But I love
right.
I can learn about your journey and how fascinating, and then it gets me all pumped up to want to learn more. And then I want to get, then I go down this track of learning, I want to learn Buddhism now. And then now I'm remembering Buddhism, because it's
Uh-huh. Yeah, all you do is remember
level.
stuff. You don't learn anything new.
Yeah, you
You just
remember.
remember, like you hear something, you're like, that feels true because I remember that. But I just wanted to also clarify this concept of Buddhism as a religion because it's not a religion. It's just a philosophy for for how you create your physical reality through your consciousness. Buddhism comes from the Sanskrit word "bud," which means to be awake within the matrix, to realize that you're an energy field projecting out physical reality from your level of consciousness, and that you have dominion over physical reality. And if you didn't want this physical reality experience, you would just go back to nirvana, the spiritual emptiness of nirvana with source in the void.
You're exactly right. And you
Nobody
know what?
made you. You chose to have this vacation.
Okay, look, come on. This is about spiritual maturity, and that's the truth. The other thing people, an example, of what you're saying, what I'm thinking, is people will go, well, that's not true. I really need, what's the typical thing? More money. Okay, so I can do X, Y, Z, whatever. But the thing is, I'm like, you could have that, and here, someone writes you a check for a couple $1,000,000, but they don't want it. You know why? They have reasons. They have reasons. They want acknowledgement. They want to work hard so they can feel like they earned it. They don't want to be given it. They want to feel like I did it. Check off on my mission part of it. I can
Hmm.
provide for whatever. So there's underlying reasons. People it's not that they don't want things, it's they want it a particular way.
Well, see, and that's exactly what Buddhism is understanding our consciousness. Basically like source that energy of life, that spark of the soul is splintered off into everything. Everything has a piece of source, God, Allah, whatever the
Mm,
universal one mind they call it in Buddhism. Everything has that piece of living light in it. The only difference between that microphone and you, Tamara, is the frequency that holds the shape. Now
mhm.
you can incarnate as a rock, and that's a really slow,
Yeah,
boring existence, but there's a life lesson in it being
right.
in a steady, you know,
I'd rather
state of existence.
I'd rather
Yeah,
be
you could be that as well. So anyways, that's the only difference. It's just and they know this in sound frequencies as well. Because I drop this is all in the books too. But if you want to change the DNA structure of anything, you just change the frequency. So they did this in sound energy research where they took these doctors and researchers took the eggs of a salamander, and they shone a light that had the DNA signature of a frog into the salamander, and the egg of the salamander hatched open. It was a frog.
Okay, get out of here.
It's true. I
Are
can
you
send you the
serious?
link so you can read that. Uh-huh. Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So
Well, wait a minute.
the
So what
light
about if I want to be
changes your
a unicorn?
DNA.
What about if I want to be a unicorn?
You want to be a unicorn?
Well, be really, yeah. Well, really, not
Well,
really.
you got to really want it.
A Pegasus. That'd be better.
That's why my daughter's always pretending to be a Pegasus in her Roblox games. And then she tries to get me to get her money so she can like buy wings and clothes for her Pegasus, and I'm like, "No, I'm not going to use real money so you can buy a fake outfit for your avatar that you're going to lose when you get bored of the game anyways." This is how they're scamming the kids.
Oh,
Spending all this money on this like
oh, you're
digital
right.
clothes. So I
Yes.
said, "You know what? There's more than one way to get what you need. Why don't you go around your friends on Roblox and say, um, fundraiser to help me get my wings, and when I get my wings, you can ride me, and I'll give you free pony rides on
Oh,
Pegasus." And so she went around and she got $1,000 of donated Roblox money, and then she got her wings. And then
oh,
she got her wings. Everybody was like $10 or $20. These are little kids all over the world playing. And she got her wings, and then she's flying
oh,
around the Roblox game, and all the people who donated is like, "Oh, I want." So then they'll change the avatar into a kid, and they'll ride her, and she'll ride around their fairy tale thing. Well, this is what they do, and so I'm like, "Good, you found a way to get what you needed without using real money, all my real money." So
oh my
yeah,
gosh.
and then other kids are like, "I wanna get," and so they picked up from her, so they did a fundraiser, and then she's like, "I only have $600. How much do you need?" "I need 100," and so because they don't know the numbers quite yet. So
Oh,
anyways, and so they're donating amongst each other, but they're doing this in Roblox where they're donating amongst each other, but I'm like, "You have to know when it's a real and not real. This is not real, okay? So don't get too into the cyber world."
yeah.
So
No, that's true because we're already trapped within a matrix, which we keep wanting to go back to the multiverse, but we're gonna stick here. I
right,
want
let's get back in this
we're gonna
conversation.
so okay, so you're this Buddhist. They knew that the temple priests, they knew, okay, you're the special one, you're the high frequency one.
Well,
Did you pick
there's many of them. That was just the
Oh
first that
yeah.
they had seen, and then they started seeing more, and they're like, "I don't know what's going on, but something's
Well,
going
yeah.
on."
Well, yeah, there's quite well, like I'm telling you, but there's a lot of star seeds that have incarnated.
Mhm.
Now, and some have been on different planets. They've obviously because they're star seeds, and they've also had some have had several lives. Not all, but some have had several lives on
Mhm.
planet Earth. But the star seeds here now that are awakened, they know they got a mission. So this is a good time right now because I know that we've kind of gone a little bit over, but this is a good time that we could go into part two
Uh-huh.
or what I don't know part two. We could go into the next segment. This would be a
Yep.
good time to go into the next segment on as far as you helping pre-life planning for star seeds, what a Tulka is, your galactic cosmic journey, but also your journey of helping others, and what does it mean to raise your frequency? What do you think?
I think that's great. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, look, thank everybody for watching and stay tuned for the next segment.
See you soon.
Please subscribe, like, and make comments, and support this channel by becoming a member. Thank you for your continued support. Hello, and welcome to Seeking Heaven, the Near Death Experience and Other Phenomena. I'm your host, Tamara Richardson, a 6-time near death experiencer, as well as evidential medium And Starseed, welcome. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, tell your friends, watch all the past episodes, watch the new episodes, and definitely sign up for my Ascension School newsletter. And that's academyofdivinewisdom.com, where I have lots of online events, classes, courses on the ascension process, as well as having guest teachers. So check it out. So let me jump right into it. We are back today with a in-demand guest. That would be Vaughn Galt. Now, Vaughn, if you haven't seen her other episodes, please do. She has several books out. The Buddhist Mandalas explore parallel realities with sacred geometry. The Buddhist Mandalas, Christ consciousness of multidimensional Merkaba. And she has other books, other projects she's working on. She's a YouTube host. I mean, she is a wealth of information. Today, however, we're going to be talking. Now, she is trained in the Buddhist spiritual practice in Buddhism. However, she's so much more. I mean, she's very educated in a lot of different spiritual knowledge and so forth. Not just that, but she also is wants to talk. We're going to talk about today. So we're going to go. This is going to be fun about pre-life contracts and about how she figured out she helped starseeds coming to Earth, what that is and their mission, as well as how does that play into the multiverse. And then if that's the case, and we have different timelines, and there's also a Mandela effect where things are changing, how do we keep the pulse of all this and then somehow come out on top with our spiritual journey? She's going to tell us all about it. So here is Vaughn Galt. Welcome back.
Hey, I'm glad to be back. We didn't change outfits.
No, we didn't change outfits. I tell you
We've
what,
been having a long conversation.
we had a very long conversation. I tell you what, you're a firecracker and full of wisdom. And I think I really love, you're going to probably laugh about it, but I love your style because you just come out there. And I think it's great because it's very disarming with spirituality. It's not so serious, but it's just, you really engage people. And I love how warm and funny you are. And people I know they take to it because I really love just letting you speak and just being you and just letting it come through as organically as you are, because I think it is even better. But today I want us to go back and talk about, how did you find out that you are a pre-life starseed planner, and what that means, and what is a tulka?
It was a toku. Yeah. Okay. So let's
Tulka.
break it down.
Break it down.
Let's
Break it
break
down.
it down. We're gonna break it down, and I gotta take notes because we go into so many different tangents. We're gonna go down the rabbit hole.
Ooh,
So
we're going down. We are going down the rabbit
down the
hole.
rabbit
The rabbit
hole.
is hot pink, but we're going down that little thing in our
Yeah.
hair. But we're
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, the hair thing kind of like evolved over time because I have like long hair to my bum.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago in the early book interviews, I used to put it down, and then I got the Rona and I lost some hair, so I had to find something to do with my hair. And so my daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, is like, "You should be like the Moon Princess," because she saw a Netflix movie about the Chinese Moon Princess. And so I was like, "Well, that's a good." I
Aw,
was like, because I was like, I was gonna do my hair in a bun, just like they do in Laos. My
yeah.
husband calls it Lao bun. And then I was just gonna stick some ornaments on because that's what they do in Southeast
Oh,
Asia
it's
when
so
they
pretty.
go to
So
temple
pretty.
or ceremony. And so I was doing that, and then obviously being a little bit Polynesian, I was like, well, let me add some flowers. So over time, it's
Yeah.
basically it's filling up space here to fill up the lost hair.
Well, you know what? It's very Polynesian, and it shows.
I'm kind of representing everything here.
You're all representing everything with the feathers. I like that because that's just a look, throw people off. But the flower is very Polynesian, and it's so
It's
beautiful.
very Lemurian.
It is Lemurian, and I
It's
really, it's
very
very
Mu.
feminine. It is, and I just We were talking about the aquatics and so forth. So look, we're going to go down this cosmic road. We're going to
Yeah.
get into star seeds.
Yeah.
How you're a star seed, I'm a star seed. We totally connected. I love what you're doing, and that how early on, if you haven't seen it, the episode before where we're talking about how early on the Buddhist priests that were in the temple as a little girl realized, wait a minute, you're like a little light bulb. And you're like, I am. And realize that your frequency, you're different. And a lot of the star seeds that come in, and maybe you can speak on this, which probably has to do with your part of your mission. You got a big mission.
Yeah.
They gave you a big mission.
Put me to work. Dang it.
I know a lot. But as far as you being helping others, you also had to recognize your inner light and so forth to be able to help people with their inner light. How did you know that you were a pre-life planner for start?
Okay, so I just have to correct something. There are no
Okay.
priests and priestesses in Buddhism.
All
They're
right.
monks,
Oh, I'm
monks
so
and nuns.
sorry.
And monks and nuns
Darn.
are just teachers. They
All
were
right,
once
teachers.
students, and then they teach, and then they become students. The students become a teacher, teacher becomes a student, and we all eventually learn
All
from
right.
each other.
So sorry
So
for the
just
vocabulary.
well,
Okay,
it's
teachers.
okay. It's
Aren't we
okay.
all teachers and all
We're
students?
all teachers and we're all students. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Okay.
I like to learn lots of things, and sometimes if I don't learn something, I just start. That's why I started my own podcast because I wanted to introduce people that I wanted to introduce and talk about topics that nobody talks about. Like take it like interstellar conversations about the reincarnation and pre-life planning process.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
anyways, in short, um, growing up, I was born and raised into Buddhism. I'm from the Hmong tribe of Laos, and we have not just the materials that different monks and nuns have added to the canon over the last 25 years. We've also incorporated Vedic Hinduism and the concepts that carried forward from that. And we incorporated a lot of shamanism, and they call it shamanism, but ancient spiritual knowledge from the lost continent of Mu or
Mhm.
Lemuria.
Miriam.
Um, before the mega flood. So that has been kept in the canon, and so it's just kind of like a melting pot of knowledge, metaphysical knowledge on how we create our physical reality from our consciousness. And it's really super simple and easy to understand. But anyways, when I was growing up in the monasteries, and I attended a lot of different Buddhist temples and monasteries in the United States. If I'm in Laos, I'm there at the ones that my parents help fund the art restoration of. And I got bored of the basic lessons and the chants that were kind of basic, how not to be a douchebag. So I started to wander the property and study the artwork. And if you've been to one Buddhist temple, you'll see the same artwork everywhere. It doesn't matter where in the world, it's the same artwork. And basically, the artwork is teaching you
Mhm.
the knowledge, but in the form of art because people become illiterate
Right.
over time.
It's
And so the
they've
only
gotten
way to
dumbed down, don't you
it
think?
got dumbed down, yeah. So the only way to pass
Here's some
forward
art.
information, yeah, there's some the only
Beautiful.
way to pass forward information is through the art. And when people are of certain consciousness level and they find certain information, they'll look back at the art and go, "Oh, that's what that means," etc. So leave it at the Buddhist mandalas when Christ the purple one.
Okay.
So we talked about the first book, Buddhist Mandalas, Explore Parallel Realities of Sacred Geometry, in the last episode, which is really good to understanding that you are energy field, you are a
Mhm.
Merkaba mandala. Give you a quick high level overview of the book. So this goes so
Perfect.
my childhood in learning advanced Buddhism, because these concepts are kind of far out for basic Buddhism, the basics of how to be a nice person and all that. Those are all good basics which we should have anyways. But then I went and got the material from all the research done in mindfulness and meditation and consciousness studies and metaphysics, and I put that all into a book. And then I was like, how do I do this in a book? Because this is so, how do I explain this in normal speak so anybody can pick it up and understand it, whether they're in third grade or they're like 80 years old.
Mhm.
So I break down a lot of these really complex concepts in really easy language and analogies and ways people to understand. So so really quick, so the first book that I wrote was Buddhist Guide to Manifest Parallel Realities. Okay. And that one is a basic on applying the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. And it's for people who it's not, like I said, it's not a religion. When you read it, you realize, oh, it's basic kind of how do I reprogram my consciousness to uncover my hangups, my unknown programs that I picked up from my mom or dad or my upbringing environment that has influenced the
Ah,
way that I see myself, that I see others, which has influenced how I guide and direct my life. Like, what kind of people do I attract to myself? What kind of
mm,
relationships do I attract? Why am I attracted to this career and that? All the different things that we do are basically being unconsciously influenced by these programs that we have learned. And many of them are good, but many of them, that negative self-talk, that doubt, all that kind of stuff has been picked up from our childhood upbringings because
yeah, it's
who do we
true.
spend most of our time in and pick up these behaviors? From our parents.
Hmm.
So not to blame them because we pre-chose the parents that we had for certain
Yeah.
reasons. But this is a really good one to pick up because it will help you dissect that so that you can understand yourself and then manifest with more clarity and without that maybe old baggage that you didn't know was in the trunk of the car.
Oh gosh.
Because the thing is that as we go into higher frequencies and as you raise your consciousness into higher frequencies, you will manifest your next best experience. And
Hmm.
if you're manifesting your next best experience with unconscious programming that you picked up
You.
about anything, it's
Mm.
going to come out all haywire. And you're going to go, why
It's
did
gonna be,
I?
yeah, it's not gonna be a rhyme or reason, but one thing I
Right.
will say, and this is so needed, I do have a question about this, okay,
Hmm.
so manifesting parallel realities, can I
Go ahead.
probably do a very bad job of explaining,
Go.
what I think this is and what you're trying to communicate, simply, you're so complex, which is good, I like that, but, um parallel realities, when we grow up a certain way, we receive certain type of ancestral programming that is not always positive, right? It's not always and it was going too deep, but just certain behaviors that we, as we become adults and self-thinking and self-aware, we don't want these things and we want to achieve things and we find they come into in the way. It could be like I've noticed as an example, with women, some women don't think that maybe they shouldn't have a business or what have you because they've taught that there's always the man that's in charge. I mean, crazy stuff. I mean, it could
Yeah.
honestly be anything. I'm just using an example. It could be anything. So you're saying through this, and the two different parallel realities would be the one that you want to get out of being like rubber band snap back to and supersede it into a self-driven life. Is this did I get that right?
Right,
No.
right, right. No, no,
Close?
no. You definitely got it right. And the address is a lot with my clients that come in for sixth sense consultations because it goes into the sixth senses, and then also for um, past life, future life, and life between life, hypnosis, quantum hypnosis. I address this a lot with my Asian clients in terms of heritage and culture because
Mm.
many of them unconsciously picked up the programming that you must achieve, you must be like A plus, you got to be an overachiever, and it
Yeah,
is
I understand.
stressful to constantly have that set expectation before you're in born just because you were born Asian from this and you got to hold the whole family lineage up. That's a lot of stress. And so I deal with that with my clients a lot so that they can find happiness in their career path and in their life without trying to appease the shortcomings of their parents
Oh, man. That's
expectations that come from
uh,
culture.
I also see that, I see that with my clients in a different way,
Mm.
through readings, but I see it, these things come up. I mean, find it interesting. And of course, I'm very compassionate, and it makes you realize we all come from somewhere. But you
Mm-hmm.
also see it like also in the Hindu,
Yeah.
with Indians, the families, they put a lot of pressure for high degrees and a lot of study, and also sometimes in Jewish communities it's come up a lot, and it's so much pressure from the family a lot of
There's a
times,
lot of
and
pressure.
a
Why
lot
do
of
you think most doctors and engineers are Asian? You think it was all personal choice? It was
yeah, a lot of
pre-planned. They
pressure.
just fell into it, and then later on, they're like, "Oh, I'm not as having as much fun as I wanted to." Well, did you really have a stake on picking out your career path?
Well, and
So,
it's also similar with I've seen too with Vietnamese
mhm,
women, Italian women. Now, look, I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just saying it's an observation. I could be wrong,
mhm.
but that there you must have children. You must have a life. You must do the cooking. I mean, because it comes up in session, and the fact is, we're not saying that people don't need to eat. I mean, we all gotta
Well,
eat,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it has to do with carrying a projected
It's a
experience,
stereotype.
a stereotype within the
It's a
family, and they want to
stereotype.
continue on versus breaking out of that and reformatting it into the way that you feel comfortable. And
Right.
so, and the same thing in male and female roles. And
Yeah.
I think it's so great now that, if a guy wants to be a ballet dancer, who cares? Or be Mr. Mom, who cares? If a woman wants to earn all the money, who cares? I don't think people care about that so much, the stereotypes of gender roles. So you
Yeah,
help
yeah.
with this too.
Well, and yeah, exactly. And I do have guys that come over and they having issues with gender roles in that their spouse has like the more affluent job, the bigger job, and eventually they could come to terms. Like my husband has a great saying on this. I don't know what your problem is, man. Who cares if your lady wants to bring extra bacon home? And then you get to check out and have fun with the kids all day. That's a good trade. So,
Yeah, it's
but
ego. That's
it's just
the only thing. It's just ego.
well, it's ego, and the ego is from trying to meet up with these stereotypes,
Oh,
cultural stereotypes. So there's nothing wrong necessarily. I mean, they have their place. They come with intentions and guidance, but like all things, there needs to be a balance,
yeah,
and so there needs to
true.
be two people agreeing to it. So, anyways, we'll talk about my
Yes.
client sessions later because all of them are star seeds and they fall into these pre-life plans. But anyways, so the Buddhist Guide to Manifest Parallel Realities, when you start working on your consciousness and how you create your life based on the different decisions you make and how you act out on those decisions, it changes your frequency. And when you change your frequency, you attract to yourself a matching experience, hence a matching reality. And so many of my clients will come in because they are working on their spiritual acceleration and they're raising their frequency, everything's all good. Then all of a sudden, something has changed in their life, whereas the history of their family has changed. The way somebody in the family injures themselves is completely different from how they experience it. So they're having their own personal Mandela effects.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
okay, and so they don't know where to go for this kind of stuff, but in Buddhism, when you change your frequency, you change the reality you experience. So now we're talking the multiverse and multiplicity, which
Mhm.
goes into this book. Okay, this is the
Okay.
Buddhist mandalas. Oh,
Oh,
that's
okay,
the
give
next
us some. That's
that's book
beautiful.
2. That's
Oh,
book
wait.
2. The one with Kuan Yin, the
Beautiful,
famous bodhisattva and female master teacher.
beautiful.
She's an
They're
ascended
gorgeous
master.
artwork. Gorgeous, gorgeous covers. Did you do that or hire?
I designed them and I designed them and then I send out the design to my artist and
Gosh,
then
they're
she
so
she
pretty.
draws them for me. And so yeah, these are exactly so
Can I
ascended
make a comment?
masters are just teachers who have mastered the matrix by ascending their frequency up to that level. That's why they're called
Oh
ascended
man, that is
masters.
some wisdom right there. I just want to make a comment real quick. That one of the things that we learn in various ways, and I want to go back to make a comment and a compliment about you talking about as a little girl looking at art, and you were looking at the world like art and symbolism, but you look like the cover of your book. You are a walking piece of art, and no, no, no. and it's not just an aesthetic thing. Come on, it's not just an aesthetic thing, but I think that it makes people feel comfortable, and it's like a pretty landscape, and but it's also part of a spiritual thing, like laughter and humor, because I think people that want pretty things around themselves, or to look project a certain way, or project art, I think that's also a frequency. It's an aesthetic
Yeah.
frequency.
Yeah, and it is because you are
Mhm.
going to project out what you are. So, so you these artwork is not new, and if you've gone to one Buddhist monastery, you see them everywhere. Okay, it's the same artwork. We've been regurgitating the same artwork for all the way back to Mu, all the way back to the lost continent of Lemuria. So, anyways, and a lot of the spiritual knowledge has been kept in many of the cultures through shamanism, metaphysics, and then, of course, it's the big one is Buddhism because all the scribes. That's where you can get. In ancient times, there's a little background. In ancient times, the Buddhist monastic schools, they're just universities where you get free education to learn math, science, metaphysics, energy healing, to learn how to read and write, and the monks teach everybody else what they learn, it's just a school. It's a free school. Yeshua ben
Right.
Yosef went through it for all his young life until he got into his 30s, and then made ways with Gnostic Christianity. So we'll talk about Yeshua ben Yosef, his girlfriend, and John and Thomas later, but but it's open to anybody who wants to come learn energy healing, metaphysics, and how our consciousness creates physical reality. You
So I
wanted to say
wanted to
something?
mention, we were talking pre-show, and you were talking about this, and we're going to get into this next segment, but that really you're talking about mystery schools, and
Right.
about Yeshua even pre-Jesus. Okay, there, before he was here, there was the Essenes, and they had mystery schools, and they taught how to. They were actually could do several things, whether it would be levitate, be invisible, but the frequency was so high that they could transcend 3D material
Well,
space.
yeah, we're all alchemists. Remember, everything is
Yeah.
energy. Everything is energy, and the only thing that's separating the forms is the frequency
What?
that's holding that shape. You
Right.
change you change the energy signature, you change um the the structure. It's just like when you're cooking. You cook high enough, it's gonna melt and become something completely different. Okay? Same concept.
I don't
But
wanna
when
melt. I do
no,
wanna
you
walk
don't.
through I do wanna walk through walls, though. I'm just gonna tell you.
Okay,
It is
okay,
it's a goal.
okay. But that's a sixth sense too. But anyways, yeah, sixth sense is very common because as you raise your consciousness and your frequency, your aura field raises its frequency, then it pops up new sixth senses that you've kind of grown into. So it's kind of like if you're a kid and you have the ability to jump 15 feet, you're not going to do it when you're a baby, but as you grow into a certain height and you reach that height, then you have the ability to do that next level
Yeah.
jump. It's the same thing with your spiritual aura field. Is that when you raise your frequency up to certain levels of consciousness, you amplify a higher energy, and it opens up dormant abilities that's always been there, but they just aren't going to be unlocked until you reach that level. Kind of like the key code to your experience is your personal frequency. You are the key code
Absolutely. No,
to
I
everything.
get that. So
So,
do you help people watching with this? I know they have the books are gonna help a lot. They can purchase your
mm,
books. You have many things on your YouTube site, but do you also have clients that you help if they can't get unstuck in old frequencies? And you think, well, what is stuck in old frequency? Well, I don't know. If your life isn't going right, you want to manifest more. That whether it be love or
oh
finance,
yeah, yeah, I
I
do.
mean, right? I mean, wouldn't that be a sign that you want to improve your frequency because your
Mhm.
manifestation ability?
Yeah, yeah. The three books are great for everybody. They like everybody who reads them reports back. I Life has been much more easy. Things are manifesting with synchronicity. I'm
Good.
seeing signs from my angels or my spirit family. My grandmother's her signs are all over the place. I get a lot of these because they're raising their frequency. It so those help a lot. But just really quick, so Buddhist mandalas explore
Hmm.
parallel realities of sacred geometry. The
Hmm.
quick thing about this one will actually it will amplify your frequency. It'll change your consciousness. The other one, the one with Kuan Yin, um, this is book 2, the one you had before with Kuan Yin. So, anyways, really quick. So this is where the art history that I grew up studying advanced Buddhism comes from.
Okay.
All the artwork has Kuan
Beautiful.
Yin
Hmm.
or any master teacher, and every master teacher has 2 halos, one in the head and one in the body. It's not behind you, it's all around you. It's you're like you exist in a bubble. That's what they call your mandala or your Merkaba in Judaism or Kabbalah, or your Sri
Your God
Yantra
bubble.
in
Your God.
Hinduism. It's your Sri Yantra. In Zen, it's your yin yang for how the toroidal field
Mm. Hmm.
works in your body. They have it. They call it the whirling log in Native American. All the teachers come in a whirling log. So there's a lot of different, and I go through all that history, even in Christianity, the same
Hmm.
depiction. It's the same depiction. We're talking about the same
Halo,
thing,
Holy Spirit.
right? So,
And
anyways, I go through the whole science of your Merkaba in that you are energy, and your energy is who you are. Your Merkaba, your mandala is who you are. Now, if you want to change the experiences, you got to raise your energy field to match the experience that you want to experience. All we're doing is projecting out from our consciousness the reality that we want to experience. We're doing this individually in our lives, and we're also doing this as collectively. So basically, everybody has 2 halos. You are a bubble.
mhm.
Okay, you are a Merkaba, your energy field. Your Merkaba projected out your physical incarnation that you're experiencing now, this avatar that you are. It changes depending on the experience you want to go on. Just like we change cars depending on the experience, if we want to go 4x4ing or if we want to go, roll around the beach of a topless car, convertible. We
Mhm.
just change the vessel, but it's the same people. It's the
Yep.
same energy field. And everybody has a unique energy field. Um, so the following book, book 2, which is this one is Buddhist Mandalas,
Yes.
Christ Consciousness of a Multidimensional Merkaba. So this is the book 2 of the Buddhist Mandalas Trinity series. And basically, as you see here, this is the same artwork. I didn't come up with anything new. I just came up with my own um, design. But this right here is
Match your
a
book. That
yeah,
looks
yeah.
so
Oh,
good.
I
You need
match
to
my
take
book.
a photo and hold it. I mean, really take a
That's
prototype.
freaking hilarious. I love that. Anyway, so this is another ascended master, a master Buddha teacher. This is Tara. And in many different monastic schools, Tara teaches a lot of different lessons as well. But she is really popular for teaching about multiplicity and the multiverse.
Mhm.
Okay, that's why when you look at Tara, she has a lot of
She's
this
in
is
motion.
yeah, she's in motion now. This is not 3 different Taras in one body that you
Yeah,
think you
she
see in
right,
Hindu artwork. Because in Hindu artwork, they see it what's happened is
right.
they have lost the knowledge of the multiverse, but they think it's all coming out of one body, but it's not. It's 3 different versions of Tara existing in 3 different versions of reality at the same time, and
O
they're all communicating with one another and affecting one another.
okay, so what we're gonna do then, God, can y'all get an idea that this
We're going down the rabbit hole.
we are going down this rabbit hole, okay, with style, okay? So let's do this because I have to think, and we have people very advanced, we have people that are beginners, just so to cover whatever. So the multiverse, maybe clarify. I know we want to go on the pre-life planner for starseeds and all of that, but you know what? It's not a bad idea to clarify what is the multiverse. And I love what you're saying, that image on the book there, that we can. I know it's a shock to some people. We can be sitting right here and also have versions of ourselves. They're on other planets in bodies if we choose, and we have others that the astral form that we're doing stuff. I mean, we are our soul. We are right now, as we perceive it, so small, a small portion, like a slither of a pie, just a small portion because we're so big. So, which really gets into responsibility because we're like, I'm just trying to deal with this responsibility with here.
Yeah.
So, can you go more into the multiverse and a
Yeah.
little bit describe it more as you see it, and even getting into how you see it now as a, I don't want to label you, but your training, your early training as a Buddhist, and through your spiritual explorations, how you see this and where we are
Okay.
now. Mm-hmm.
Right, right. So, I've always had this growing up where things would be missing or things would change. Um, Accounts. I have a really good memory of especially specific things that I really love, and how history would change, people would change, storylines would change, and so I thought it was just me for a long time,
Oh, we're talking
but
to Mandela now.
but yeah, we're going to talk about the
Okay, tell
Mandela
everybody,
effect.
tell everybody what that is first, and then we're going
Right.
to go down that hole.
It's all the same thing, okay? So so really in short, it's the reason why I have the companies and the
Okay.
artwork's really important.
Yes.
What happens is your energy field, your
Okay.
energy field has a frequency. It's dependent on your level of consciousness. The higher the consciousness, the more information and condense your energy field. Okay? You're like a heavy Mini Cooper that's the same weight of a, a truck. So, anyways, that's what you are.
Uh,
And if you want to change your frequency, you you raise your consciousness level. You work on your inner healing if you have any
mm,
old programs that you need to heal, and then you create and manifest more consciously how you want to create things. And that's like the basic stuff that everybody should know, but they don't do. So, anyways, what happens is when you change your frequency, you change reality. There is another version of reality that has a higher frequency, and that reality is going to match your new frequency. So, and we're doing this all the time where we're changing our frequency, we're going up, we're going down, we're going even more up. And it's basically the simple thing is just focus on what you want to experience and then follow through with the action items to get to that experience. It's very, very simple, nothing very hard. And that's how we travel the multiverse is by consciously creating our next best experience with more clarity and more kind of more loving intent for yourself to experience. So you're not creating like out of old baggage. You
mhm,
don't need that life lesson anymore.
mm-mm,
So what happens is when you start living like this and you start living more consciously, living more higher vibrationally, making these decisions and working with them, what happens is your history changes. Okay, because you've done the healing and you're moving forward and raising your consciousness, your energy field is changing, that you're in a new frequency of reality, and that new frequency has a different history as well, hence personal Mandela effects. I have been studying metaphysics and consciousness my whole life, and I've also been studying with that the change of energy that Earth is going to be coming through. So in Buddhism, we start the calendar from the first Buddha that awakened within the matrix, which was Siddhartha Gautama Shakyamuni. That's the first one. And he what he did different was he started documenting all this stuff and teaching everybody else who wanted to learn, how do you get your six senses? I want to learn that too, to get my six senses, etc. Because six senses is a part of being conscious. It just comes, it's a natural part of your growth process. So I have been following that, and basically in 2012 was the end of the Earth's last cycle, 25,920 year cycle, I think it is. But um it's not a doomsday, it's just a changeover of energy. So in Buddhism, it's
mm.
2555 Buddhist era. So 555 is a changeover number. It's just a
Oh
changeover.
yeah.
Okay, just a changeover. So
Mhm,
what changes the energy has changed is a much more accelerated and higher frequency, and it's going to continue to amplify that.
mm.
That's the new cycle because Earth has a consciousness herself. She's living as well.
Mhm.
Everything is living.
Oh yeah.
So we're just existing within her body, just like the cells in your body are living as well, and they're having their own happy little days, not knowing what's going on. So, anyways, she has a consciousness, and she has elevated herself to her next level of consciousness, which is a higher frequency. People say it's a fifth dimension, whatever. That's debatable. But fifth dimensional consciousness. And when you raise your consciousness, you elevate your reality. So, anyways, what happens with that is that in these higher frequencies, just like the wind, like if you're sailing and you're doing things your old way, your third dimensional way, where you're doing everything by yourself, that works fine for you for a while, but then the wind changes and it picks up in frequency.
Yeah.
And now you need a couple people to help you sail,
Yeah.
work together, um, make it's going to be much more easy. Work with the new intense speed, and you're going to go to a much more beautiful destination much faster with more ease. And that's really what it is. Now, what's happening is in these higher energies, as it continues to go up higher and higher, because you can't stop it. Okay? She's going to go through what she's going to go through.
So how has this been decided? And I got to tell you something crazy.
Huh.
I found this myself. I have notebooks of all this channeled stuff. Well, apparently I was cleaning up through my house and I found a notebook and it's crazy. It's crazy. It was back in August 25th, 1995 that was talking about, and I was a baby.
Hmm.
I'm young, and I was at a conference for 3 days. It's some spiritual, he was a way out there guy, but actually he's right on point. And he was a channeler and he talked about all these things and about the different realities and how the earth is changing and how we're being more of a light body frequency and love and light unity and more bioluminescence. And he actually described the waves in which they would come. And he actually wrote down the years. I'm shocked because this, like, I was looking at the stuff back then, and I didn't know I was called it channeling back then, but doing that back then. So when people say, "Are you awaken?" I think you awaken at different frequency levels at where you are at the time. But back then, I was thinking about partying, even though I was
Of
doing
course.
spiritual stuff too. But I was a
Oh,
young
I was
girl.
a heavy partier, girl.
You
I was
know,
not a
I mean,
good
I bet,
girl.
yeah, whatever I do, I commit. If I work, I bust serious butt, right?
I
But if I
Yeah.
party, I'm all in. I mean,
You gotta go
whatever
all
I do,
in.
it's
You gotta go
never
all in.
halfway.
Yeah, no halfway, all the way. You gotta date all the way. You gotta really enjoy you gotta be in the moment, do the experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know,
so,
I get it, I get it.
and so now wow, okay, so the Mandela effect, I do
So
wanna go back. Where's that section in
2555.
the Bible?
Okay, so just really quick. So
Okay.
2555, that was a changeover. Uh, a lot of indigenous cultures did awakening ceremony just to acknowledge the changeover. They just acknowledge what was already happening. Okay, Buddhists, Mayans, chiefs of the Polynesian islands, and the list goes on. The West didn't know because they kind of cut out a lot of their roots to where that information came from. But that's a different story. So that's what happened. And the thing is in these we know this, that in these higher frequencies, if you are creating from unconscious programming that didn't work for you, you're going to create hell for you every day.
Hell on earth, yeah.
Yeah, for you every day, because you
Do.
haven't, like, all your tax evasions is going to come back up
Oh,
to make
man.
you work on it.
Ooh,
Your dirty deeds is going to come back up
do dirty
in
deeds.
all the baggage, your hidden secrets is going to come back up in creative ways for you to deal with it, because you can't take it to these higher dimensions. Okay, that's why everything's coming back up. It looks like hell on earth, and everybody's gone crazy and nutty.
Really? Well, here's the thing, it's a completion of a cycle because Earth's got a plan. The divine has a plan.
She's
It's
she's
time to raise the frequency. So
Just
any old
cleaning
stuff,
out her junk.
it is
Yeah.
purging. It's the purge, but
It's
not
the
like that movie.
purge.
It's not like
It
the movie, but it's the spiritual purge.
it is. It is. And so you're gonna learn at some point, and some people are going to deal with it, like learn it the hard way, and then not repeat that life lesson again, and then they're gonna create much more consciously. Some people, they just,
Mhm.
for whatever reason, cannot get to graduate to the next level of their consciousness, and they're gonna find an exit strategy.
Okay, so I do want to stop here and talk about this because I know, okay, we're on a fast little car. We're on that little heavy Cooper car right now, but we need to slow that mother down. Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, we're still living in a 3D reality, and let me say what I think I mean by that. Back in the, let's think about it. The 80s and the 90s, and materialism, and then it slowly started coming out of that. Slowly, it was still there, but people are much more spiritual, especially after being home, after whatever the isolation, and a lot of time to think, and so forth. But there are people, and you could feel it. You could feel the duality. You can feel the push and pull. There are certain people, the frequency you can feel, they absolutely want to do it the old way. They don't want to change. They don't want to look at new things. They actually, talking about a bubble, they want to live within their bubble and have the rule conform to them. But it's an individual frequency growth. It's also a collective frequency growth, because we are one in the end and unified. We just forgot. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you have any recommendations, guidance for people? Like, I was making a joke, hope no one's watching this that I know, but like family and the holidays, I have some that are very grounded in this earth, and they like this, whatever. I'm like ready to get on a spaceship. I'm like, I'm ready for seriously, I'm ready for everybody to land and go. Let's change this up. I'm ready for high frequencies. I'm not afraid. I get excited about things like this. So what about the people when you have to be around them? To me, I think it's boundaries and limiting, but then even just being in the world, like I can't watch certain things on TV where I have to be very protective, because I want to keep that vibe up. Can you speak on how do you live as a star seed, a light worker in this world of, we're getting out of duality, and then for the people that just really want to just put their heels in, what do you feel is going to happen to them?
Okay. A lot of questions there. So,
Hmm.
when you raise your frequency and you match a new parallel reality, your consciousness goes to that version of reality. Um, it's like when somebody is one is in bed and the other one's gone. That other one went to another reality. Now, if that
How
person
would that
is
work? How would that work? Can you? Okay, so you're saying you're thinking about, I don't know. I don't know, hanging out in the astral realm with Octurians. And then you've got someone else that just wants that buy a new luxury car because they care what people think, and you could care less. So you're living in two different. When you get to a higher ascended area where you're just in pure state of bliss, and you have other people, do they? I mean, they're still around. Are they just invisible to you?
mhm. Yeah. So it's like a fan. It's like when you're looking at this is the difference of frequencies. When you're looking at
Okay.
a fan and it has uh slow, medium, fast.
Yes.
Okay, that's the different frequencies. At the slow and medium frequencies, you can see the propeller blades going around, but at the higher frequencies, at the high speed, the propeller blades are going so fast that it becomes invisible to you. You don't see it. You
Okay.
don't even see that it's working only because you know it's there because of the container that the fans are in. If there was no container the fans are in, it'll be completely invisible to you.
That's heavy stuff.
Terms of the multiverse, like in terms of the multiverse, when you raise your frequency to higher and higher frequencies, there are other versions of people in your life that are existing at that higher frequency. And so
Yes.
I get clients like this all the time who are having the personal Mandela effects where family members have different eye color or their tattoo is in a different spot in their body and
Are
they
you
were there when
kidding?
they got they were there
On.
when they got that tattoo or there like there's also all of a
Man,
sudden a new birthmark on their body that they've never seen before in their life, but their family has seen that their whole life, and they have baby pictures of that birthmark, and
okay,
they're like,
whatever.
"I've never seen that birthmark on my
This
body."
is okay. Look, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm trying. This look. It takes a lot to really throw me off because I read a lot, and I've been doing this since like you, like a kid. I was very inquisitive, asking everybody, interviewing them. You don't even want to know about my childhood. We're so it's two different parts of the world, so similar. Anyway, but this is heavy to really think through. So you're saying there is physical, as well, as much as you want evidence that there are shifts. So when I raise my, or somebody else, okay, but let's say I raise mine in my circumference, who usually is around me, or whatever, family or whatever. You're saying, and they can change structure. I can change structure with tattoos, or birth markings, or what have you, including it would not be limited to eye color, but physical stuff too, right? Physical, right?
Yeah, because what you, like I said before, your consciousness, your soul, your Merkaba, your energy field, whatever you want to call it, the essence of you, it's just shifting from one version of reality to another. It's going from
This
one
is
version
great
of your
news.
avatar to another version of avatar. That's why as you raise your
A
frequency and you
different
get into
timeline.
as you raise your frequency and you get into these higher levels of consciousness, you start looking younger.
Oh wow, I'm like 110. I look great. You know,
Okay,
I
I just
am older than I look, and I am getting. It's really bizarre. I
you
mean,
look better than when you were in your 20s.
it's okay. That makes sense. Well, to me, they told me it's because of your bioluminescence coming through, which you have a lot of bioluminescence. I can see through your
Yeah, you're getting more light. More
new
light is
baby.
coming
Wait, new baby
within.
glow.
Yeah, new baby fresh, new baby new, new baby fresh, new baby
New baby
fresh,
fresh.
new
This
baby
is when
fresh.
I was on Vaughn's channel. We talked about how the ETs in this world. We'll get to this, but how the
I
ETs
know we're
in
jumping
this world.
around.
We're talking. We'll get to that, but this is our personal joke about how new baby fresh. She said that. I said, "You said what?" And we were talking about that human hybrids that are walking around or ETs. A lot of them have this like real glowy, like their skin looks too perfect to be that old. It looks like baby skin, and so it's that bioluminescence coming through. We'll get to that, but that's part of the whole regeneration of the DNA. Please subscribe, like, and make comments, and support this channel by becoming a member. Thank you for your continued support. Hi, I'm your host, Tamara Richardson, and welcome to the Seeking Heaven channel. Today, we have a phenomenal guest. We've had them before, so please be sure to check out her other episodes. And today, I have Buddhist and author, as well as consciousness influencer Von Galt. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about her. She has a couple books. Well, really, she's working on her third one, but they're called Buddhist Mandalas. She has two in the series. One is Explore Parallel Realities with Sacred Geometry, and the second one is Christ Consciousness of a Multidimensional Merkaba. Now, she's here to talk about her path as a traditional Buddhist as a child, and then how that morphed and developed in her spiritual journey, as well as how it went into, what is 5D consciousness? We're creating the universe. She's going to talk about being a pre-life planner, as well as the multiverse, and really get into the Mandela effect, and gives us examples of the Bible. She has some super old Bibles, like from the 1500s. She's going to show those to us, and she's going to get into comparison how things have changed, even down to the Publishers Clearinghouse winner as people remember it. So it's some crazy stuff. We're going to go down this spiritual rabbit hole together. We're going to have a fun, wild ride. So buckle up and enjoy. And thanks for supporting my channel.
So basically, everybody has two halos. You are a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you are a Merkaba, your energy field. Your Merkaba projected out your physical incarnation that you're experiencing now, this avatar that you are. It changes depending on the experience you want to go on. Just like we change cars depending on the experience, if we want to go 4x4ing, or if we want to go, roll around the beach of a topless car, convertible. We just change the vessel, but it's the same people. It's the same energy field. And everybody has a unique energy field. So the following book, book 2, which is this one is Buddhist Mandalas,
Yes.
Christ Consciousness of a Multidimensional Merkaba. So this is the book 2 of the Buddhist Mandalas Trinity series. And basically, as you see here, this is the same artwork. I didn't come up with anything new. I just came up with my own um, design. But this right here is
That's your
a
book. That
yeah.
looks
Yeah.
so
Oh,
good.
I
You need
match
to
my
take
book.
a photo and hold it. I mean, really take a
That
prototype.
chicken is hilarious. I love that. Anyway, so this is another ascended master, a master Buddha teacher. This is Tara. And in many different monastic schools, Tara teaches a lot of different lessons as well. But she is really popular for teaching about multiplicity and the multiverse.
Mhm.
Okay, that's why when you look at Tara, she has a lot of
She's
this
in
is
motion.
yeah, she's in motion now. This is not three different Taras in one body that you
No,
think you
she
see in
right,
Hindu artwork. Because in Hindu artwork, they see it what has happened is
right.
they have lost the knowledge of the multiverse, but they think it's all coming out of one body, but it's not. It's 3 different versions of Tara existing in 3 different versions of reality at the same time, and
O
they're all communicating with one another and affecting one another.
okay, so what we're gonna do then, God, can y'all get an idea that this
We're going down the rabbit hole.
we are going down this rabbit hole, okay, with style, okay? So let's do this because I have to think, and we have people very advanced, we have people that are beginners, just so to cover whatever. So the multiverse, maybe clarify. I know we want to go on the pre-life planner for starseeds and all of that, but you know what? It's not a bad idea to clarify what is the multiverse. And I love what you're saying, that the image on the book there, that we can. I know it's a shock to some people. We can be sitting right here and also have versions of ourselves there and other planets in bodies if we choose, and we have others that the astral form that we're doing stuff. I mean, we are our soul, we are right now as we perceive it, so small, a small portion, like a slither of a pie, just a small portion because we're so big. So which really gets into responsibility, because we're like, I'm just trying to deal with this responsibility with here.
Yeah.
So can you go more into the multiverse and a
Okay.
little bit describe it more as you see it, and even getting into how you see it now, as a, I don't want to label you, but your training, your early training as a Buddhist, and through your spiritual explorations, how you see this and where we are
Okay.
now. Hmm.
Right, right. So, I've always had this growing up where things would be missing or things would change. Um, Accounts. I have a really good memory of especially specific things that I really love, and how history would change, people would change, storylines would change, and so I thought it was just me for a long time,
Oh, we're talking
but
the Mandela now.
what? Yeah, we're going to talk about the
Okay,
uh,
tell
Mandela
everybody
effect.
tell everybody what that is first, and then we're going
Right.
to go down that hole.
It's all the same thing, okay? So really in short, it's the reason why I have the companies, and the
Okay.
artwork's really important.
Yes.
What happens is your energy field your
Okay.
energy field has a frequency. It's dependent on your level of consciousness. The higher the consciousness, the more information and condense your energy field. Okay? You're like a heavy Mini Cooper that's the same weight of a, a truck. So, anyways, that's what you are.
Uh,
And if you want to change your frequency, you you raise your consciousness level. You work on your inner healing if you have any
mm,
old programs that you need to heal, and then you create and manifest more consciously how you want to create things. And that's like the basic stuff that everybody should know, but they don't do. So, anyways, what happens is when you change your frequency, you change reality. There is another version of reality that has a higher frequency, and that reality is going to match your new frequency. So, and we're doing this all the time where we're changing our frequency, we're going up, we're going down, we're going even more up. And it's basically the simple thing is just focus on what you want to experience and then follow through with the action items to get to that experience. It's very, very simple, nothing very hard. And that's how we travel the multiverse is by consciously creating our next best experience with more clarity and more kind of more loving intent for yourself to experience. So you're not creating like out of old baggage. You
Mhm.
don't need that life lesson anymore.
Mm-mm.
So what happens is when you start living like this and you start living more consciously, living more higher vibrationally, making these decisions and working with them, what happens is your history changes. Okay, because you've done the healing and you're moving forward and raising your consciousness, your energy field is changing, that you're in a new frequency of reality, and that new frequency has a different history as well. Hence, personal Mandela effects. So now you're in a reality where you look at your Bible that you've had in your family archives forever. Nobody ever went into your home and changed your Bible, but the lion lays with the lamb never was. It was always the wolf lays with the lamb. It's always been that way. And so your physical experience of
Okay,
learning
tell
that
everybody where
scripture.
that is so they can look it up. You know they're gonna look it up.
Oh yeah,
Okay, where is it? What part? Because you've got a ton of Bibles too. I mean, you're Buddhist, but
I I do. I
you've got
have been studying this my whole life. So I have, oh, let's see here.
yeah, you've got a ton of. I do too. I have probably 12 or 13 different Bibles.
So what is a Buddhist doing with these old Bibles from 1583? The thing is, I have been following the ascension of Earth and its people as we go into the interstellar galactic age my whole life. This was part of the folklores that I learned studying art history through the student monks at all the monasteries and temples that I attended. This was the stories of explaining what a Merkaba is, what is reality, what is the multiverse, what is why are all these cinema masters having all these different bodies and able to pop in and out from one version of reality to another. What's going, it sounds very sci-fi-ish. And then the Earth has one, and then we're going to what? So this is why I just love listening to and asking questions about the art history. So, anyways, so I have these old Bibles, and I started noticing a while back ago, but then I don't say anything until other people notice it, and then I'm like, okay, it is a trend. So there are supernatural Bible changes as well, and they're not necessarily supernatural. They exist in this reality, and they've always existed in this reality that we're existing in now. That's how they've always existed. And to prove the point that we as a collective and individually have changed our frequency at some point in our existence that is now going back in time and changing our reality, that I have these old Bibles. So if you want to pull up one of the pictures.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. I've got so far I pulled in. I've got that.
Okay, let's look at that. Okay, so that really quick, that is a Latin Bible from 1590. And I actually bought this from a Protestant pastor in England. And if you look at the pencil, it's not pencil, it's feather pen marking, so you can actually tell that because the pencil marking is right below that in the middle. But this supposedly, and according to them and what they looked at, this was in the personal property of Theodore Beza, and he is one of the Calvinists. He was actually John Calvin who influenced the creation of Protestantism, the Protestants. They started the Calvinist movement, and John Calvin, one of his successors with Theodore Beza, and they're all scholars. And Theodore Beza transcribes the Latin Bible into English, and he was one of the people amongst many others, like his friend Tremelius Emmanuel.
Mhm.
Um, he was also part of the group that translated the New Testament for the King James Version. Okay, so this is his Latin
Mhm.
personal Bible, and I have it here. I read.
Okay, hold on.
Oh,
Let's see it. Okay,
okay.
let's see it.
So here it is. Ooh, look at the light there. Okay. So it's really old. I put it in a shadow box to keep it protected,
Yeah,
and
good idea.
I only open it up just to reference any
Wow.
supernatural Bible changes
Yeah.
to be like, okay,
Yeah.
because people argue all the time. I think it's just a misprint. I think it's a,
Yeah,
whatever excuse.
they
They
do
misprinted
argue.
it all the way down to 1590 in Latin.
Yeah. Mm-mm. All right. So what are we
Okay,
I've got the Isaiah and the Matthew sent and then
so
this. So you tell me how you want
go
to
ahead,
do.
pick one up. Go ahead, pick one. Just open one up.
Okay,
So
open
this
one
is
up.
screenshots.
There's
Okay, so this is the 1590 Latin one, and I had to learn. I don't know why Source made me learn Latin. I had skipped out on my favorite high school to go to another high school that taught Latin, and it was
oh
the
my
only place that taught Latin in my whole county. And so that's what I did, and so I missed out on some fun activities in high school just to learn Latin, not knowing that the only reason why I did that
mhm.
was so that I can, like, translate these Bibles in reference for
Yeah,
real, that there were changes.
that is
But
amazing. Always a reason.
yeah, but this is what it looks like on the inside. Go ahead, go to the next one. Okay, uh this is Isaiah 11. Go ahead and pull out your oldest Bible and go to Isaiah 11.
Got
Gotta
two.
shake you guys up, wake you guys up.
Man, oh man, we're here. I tell you what, you're cracking me
Okay,
on. Okay, hold on. Let me show you what I got first before we get into it, because she's going to prove something here. Okay, now I just grabbed a couple. Matter of fact, I have a whole box of Bibles that my
okay.
husband. What do you
Go
want to
to Isaiah. Go to the
do? This
section
is
of
King James, and
mhm.
then I've got this old beat up one that someone gave me in college,
Sure,
and
sure.
this NIV.
Okay. Open up Isaiah.
Okay. All right.
Isaiah 11
Isaiah
and go down to
11. Which
yeah,
one?
Isaiah and go down to
Isaiah 11.
Isaiah 11.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Whereabouts?
Uh verse 6 starts with it's number 6.
The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them.
So where did everybody get that the lion lays with the lamb? Look at your other Bible.
Okay, so yeah, again, it's supposed to be okay. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb. Well, it could be this. I don't know. Look, okay, I'm not, but
Yeah.
okay, the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, the leopard shall with the kid, and the calf and the young lion. I mean, the word lion's in there. Maybe they misread it. Let me get the other one. Okay. I know you've got a point, and I'm fine with you
Mhm.
saying it. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah, yeah.
this is
So
crazy,
all
but I
so
believe you.
all of the movies and the statues and the picture of the lion, the lamb laying next
It's
to each
true.
other and
Wasn't
being
that in one of those movies too? That with the old days, like
it's in
partner
all
best.
it was in Twilight, the lion should lead of the lamb. It's in many
They mean the movie
cathedrals.
Twilight.
Yeah, they did it in the movie Twilight. It's in many cathedrals and churches where they have pictures and
Mm.
artwork of the wolf. Sorry, the lion and the lamb. Everybody
Holy
knows
crap.
it's the
This is
lion, the
saying this.
lamb.
Okay, now wait a minute. This is saying here. Okay, okay, this is another complete Bible. That was King James, which is one of the oldest besides of course what you've got.
Yeah,
Uh, uh,
The King James version was created in 1611. And it does not include the Apocrypha and other stories from the Gnostics.
like the Gospel of
The-
Thomas and all of those. Yeah, I know,
They
which are
took those
really good. A manifestation.
yeah, they took those out because they will empower you if you knew how to
Yeah, I
energy
know.
heal yourself and create and that you have dominion over physical reality.
Right. But guess what? We can supersede all that because if we go direct, the divine can tell us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
are you seeing in all your personal
Okay.
Bibles?
So let
It's
me
the
just show this one. Okay. So I just showed this is remember I said this one and look at it. Right.
the wolf will live with the lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the leopard will lay down with the goat, the calf, and the lion. Then the yearling together, and a little child will lead them, which is very
So
similar to this one, which is King James, which is very similar.
the wolf shall dwell with the lamb. Okay,
Yeah.
now pull up the one that I sent you from my 15. So this one is my 1583 Old English Geneva Bible, which I
Mhm.
have here. Let me put a
Okay, let's
picture
see
here.
it. Okay, there's the
So
old Bible.
okay,
You keep
that's
it in
the old
plastic
one.
based. Can't believe you have
Okay.
that. Okay.
Okay, this is Holy Bible with the
Mhm.
light there. Anyways, so this is the one that I have from
Okay.
1583, and you can actually see when you show the pictures, you can see inside it. The difference between the Geneva Bibles and the King James Version Bibles is the Geneva Bibles, they're known for writing notes on the side. It's called the Bible of Notes, and
Mhm.
it would kind of like make some notations, kind of like a cliff notes for like common people to follow.
Yeah,
And the reason why this is Geneva Bible, because back in the
right.
day before the King James version came out, it was very scary to be a Bible scholar or to translate the Bible or to even talk about it, because a lot of politicians at the time would they want you to write it a certain way or transcribe it in a certain way that works for them. And so a lot of people who were in that profession were blackmailed, killed, their families were harassed or killed. So it was a very dangerous time to be working in this profession as a Bible translator. Um, and so many of them went and sought political asylum to do their work in
Mhm.
Geneva, Switzerland. That's why they call it the Geneva Bible. And then and they say that there is no Jewish person that transcribed the King James Version Bible in 1611. That was a
Mhm.
part of the group that transcribed for that King James Version. Well, Emilio Tremellius, which is Theodore Beza's friend,
Mhm.
um, he is Jewish. He translates the Bible from Hebrew, from Latin into to English, and he's Jewish. And in order to save his life and his family's life, he converted to, I think it was Catholicism, one of the Christian religions, just to protect himself from being killed for being one Jewish
That's
and a
awful.
Bible translator.
People
So
forget history. They need to remember this, the
yeah, yeah,
aggressiveness. Yes.
yeah. So you have a Jewish person transcribing your King James Version Bible. You have Calvinists transcribing your King James Version Bibles. You have Muslims who know Arabic translating it, and they're all just moving around, changing their religions and their nationalities to do their work because they knew that there was some kind of metaphysical information that was important for them to do. So, anyways, above and beyond that, the King James Version Bible, they cut off the Apocrypha and a lot of the other materials as well, just to kind of condense it, because otherwise it would get really, really thick. I mean,
Mm.
and then of course the printing press would cut out some words as well. So you'll see that.
Yeah.
So this is a really thick. This is the
It's huge.
1583. It's huge, but the Latin version,
Which
because
is this one?
well, that's the Latin one. The Latin one
The
is
Latin
even
one.
bigger because it takes more
God.
words to make the same sentences in Latin. So this is Latin. This is Roman. I'm sorry. This is the fifth the English version. But you see how the thick the Latin one is? It's, oh my God, so heavy. It's
Yeah.
so heavy and it's so big. And so they had to kind of cut it down because they were like, oh, the attention span of the viewers can't handle that thick of a book. So anyways, but that's so I got these just as a reference tool, and I learned Latin so that I
So
can I
impressive.
can read it, and make sure that that's exactly what it says. And so I use it as a reference tool to measure the changes in physical reality as we travel the multiverse through our consciousness
So go
together.
well, so what the heck? What's going on here? Why does it says the wolf shall dwell with the lamb? Why does everybody think lamb? A lion. Why?
Because you are in another reality. Your
Okay, so what
consciousness has left the other one that you grew up and loved with the lion chalet of the lamb.
yeah, but where
That
did you
is
ever find that? Did you ever find a book that said that, or is there
no, and you're not because it doesn't exist in this
alright,
reality.
let's talk okay, like, just
So
for
show those pictures. Show those pictures really quick.
okay, which one? The Matthew?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the 1590 Latin Geneva Bible, okay?
Mhm,
And as you can see, the notes are on the side. That's the notes.
mhm.
So I took the Latin. If you take Latin and you just put it in the a transcriber on the internet, it'll translate it for you. But if you're not sure or you're not confident the translation is going to be correct, then you learn Latin and then you translate it yourself, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty correct. So here is the verse, Matthew 6. Um, lines 9 to 23. It's the Lord's Prayer. Now, do you know the Lord's Prayer by heart, Tamara?
Yes,
Go
of
ahead and
course.
say it. Go ahead. Don't
Uh, oh,
don't
great,
read what's on the
great, help
screen.
me out.
Close your eyes and say it.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy is the kingdom and the glory forever and forever. Amen.
Okay. It's interesting, and that's always how you known it, right? Debts and debtors.
Always.
Okay. So, go ahead and pull that up
Oh
again.
gosh, I'm afraid to look at this stuff. We're all going to hell. No, I just thought I'd throw that in there for effect. All right.
Okay. Here's the on the left is the Latin version, Panem Nostrum quitted, and you can read the whole thing out. And then the translation is, go ahead and read that.
Give us this day our daily bread and forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors.
Okay. In the reality that I grew up with and many people, it was trespasses. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive
Of our
our
trespasses.
yeah, and those who trespass
Yeah.
on us.
Yes.
And it's always been that way. And I even have like my about over a decade ago, my husband's grandmother had the Lord's Prayer in her kitchen, and it was forgive the trespassers who trespass on us.
My grandmother used to say it like that.
Okay, so why did you change it?
Heck if I know.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying. You think your
And then
grandmother spent like her whole life saying it the wrong way?
no, but what I'm saying, well, I don't know. I mean, okay.
Now you have this is like you have to be aware of what's going on in your reality. So
There it is there. What is this? The kingdom of how old is this?
this one is it's written on the title of the image, the
Okay.
file.
It is Matthew 6:9, Lord's Prayer. It starts CLO something.
Okay, go ahead and put it back up. Okay. So, in 11. So I just showed you the Latin version from my 1590. This is the even older version of the 1583 Geneva Bible. And the other thing is the pilgrims that came to the United States, to the new country, they did not bring King James with them. They brought the Geneva Bible because they didn't want to bring the king with them.
Oh my
They
god.
didn't want to bring King James. They brought the Geneva one.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a lot of politics in that one, but there's a reason they didn't wanna bring that with them to the new land.
So let me ask you a question. You're so skilled in this. I'm so highly impressed right now. I'm just blown away. Okay, so I know that, like, you know, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina,
Sure.
around the or the Carolinas. Okay, so Billy Graham's from here. Okay, we have the Billy Graham, but he loves
Yeah,
the
but
King
he
James
died many
version.
years ago when that I even read, like, long,
Well,
long
he
time
only
ago.
died what 5 years ago.
But
He was
I
he was
had
old as the hills.
I know, but I had before he died in this reality, he had died even earlier.
What?
Yeah,
All right, now you're
I
blowing
had
my
read
mind.
at a
Okay.
Bartell Drugs pharmacy a Life magazine. He was in the front and it had an old picture of him. Anyways, I had read about his life. and he had died then. And then come to find out, many months later, he's still alive, and then he died like more recently.
Okay, now
And
hold up. How's that? How can we do? How's this working? This is
it's
crazy.
working every time you raise your frequency, you go to a new version of reality, and that
Okay,
new
so
version
which
of
one is
reality
better,
has
the
different
old one when
elements.
he died or the new one he died? I don't know.
Does it matter?
Is it? I don't know.
It doesn't. It just says that you were traveling the multiverse. You could do it unconsciously, or you could do it consciously. It's more
I would
fun if you do
rather
it
do it
conscious.
consciously. I got a really awesome Merkaba. I'd rather do it
All
consciously.
right. It's like you can
Okay.
ride the roller coaster with a blindfold, or you can keep your
Nope.
eyes open.
I'm gonna look at it all. I'm gonna look.
All
I mean,
right.
look, my eyes are open. I took the what is it? Is it the red pill or the blue pill? The one that makes you wake up. I'm awake. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not going back.
Okay. So go ahead and let's finish showing the pictures real quick.
Okay. So
This just goes in the conversation about the
we've got
multiverse.
this,
All right. Okay.
okay, the back.
Yeah. Go to, we already went through this one. Go to the next one. This is the Latin version of the Lord's Prayer. Go to the next one. This is Isaiah. So this is leave it on this one. This is the wolf and the lamb, Isaiah 11. So this is from the 1583 Old English Geneva Bible, and the thing is that it's in Roman font printing press, and Roman font is the original Roman font is looks like this. It gives you a headache, so they had to rework what Roman font looks like so it's more
Mm,
legible so that we can read it. Because
yeah,
otherwise most people can't read it. It looks
it's
like
hard to
this.
read.
Yeah, but
Mm.
if you look at it, um over at
S- Which one?
okay, 6.
Okay.
So,
The
line 6.
wolf of shall dwell with the lamb with the
Yep,
knee. Lamb
there you
with
go.
the knee.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, so anyways, there you go again. That's
Okay, we
1583.
did that.
So
We
we've
did
just
that.
yeah, so I've already proven at the oldest Bibles that I can find that that this is the reality and this is what is always been. So all you people who remember the Lord's Prayer is saying tris and shall not trespass on, on us, that version never existed in this reality. The version that you grew up with where the that you see on movies, you see on statues, everything
Yeah,
else,
where have
where
you
the
seen the lion? Where did that come from?
all you people who remember physically reading and knowing about the lion lays down with the lamb that never existed in this reality that we're existing right now, which means
Okay.
that you were from a different reality. You are from a different reality. Your consciousness has come into this reality.
So both. You're saying is that you remember both, right?
Yeah, you
I
can't
remember
change your
both.
memories, but reality is fluid. It's always changing. This is what we call Mandela effects, personal ones, and then there's also the logos, like
With
like
the
you
both.
know like Publishers Clearinghouse. A lot of people like. Do you remember Publishers Clearinghouse?
Yeah, Ed McMahon.
And what did he do?
He would go on our I mean, I'm dating myself. We'll go on Johnny Carson and he would talk about this thing. I saw it. I may be in different multiverses. I'm just saying I remember.
What do
And
you
he would
remember? What do you
talk about
remember?
it. And then I would get these things and then my grandmother and so forth, they get things in the mail. And then all of a sudden one day, where the hell did Ed McMahon go? It's
That's
like all of
right.
a sudden, like his name wasn't associated with it, and it was like he never existed, and I don't know what happened.
Right. So in this version of reality, Publishers Clearinghouse, and they've even had to debunk everybody's recall of this because they don't know what everybody's talking about. They made statements on this. Publishers Clearinghouse never had Ed McMahon as their spokesperson to deliver the winning prize checks in the prize van with a bunch of people to go to people's doors and and give them a large check with roses and balloons and an entourage from Publishers Clearinghouse. That never existed.
but in another reality it did because my
But
husband remembers it too.
yeah, and I remember I love that one because my dad had a subscription to Reader's Digest growing up. We watch it on TV.
Yeah.
He would order the books on Reader's Digest just so that he can continue to enter into the sweepstakes because he was adamant he was going to win something and Ed McMahon was going to come to the door. Well, he did win something eventually. It was a $50 like backyard table set, but then he went crazy over that. But that was my history of for years watching my
So,
parents do the
okay.
sweepstakes through Publishers Clearinghouse.
Okay, so you have a memory from you're saying a different timeline
Mhm.
of this, like, I saw this happen, and but then I remember at some point, I don't know when it dropped off, and actually, I have to say, I just remembered when we did the Lord's Prayer, and one time I asked my husband to say this with me, and he did the trespasser thing. I said, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, he's the presence, the soul that is in him came from a different version of reality
Yeah.
than you are from, and so now you guys have done some work, some consciousness work, you change your frequency, and now you guys have popped into this version.
Oh,
It's
God.
still your husband, you still love him. How many
Yeah.
times do you get a chance to date and fall in love again with another version of your husband? All your friends and families have multiple versions, and so you just
This
gotta,
is
like,
complicated.
you just gotta love them in whatever version they're at now.
So this is not so really we can whether it's a
Sometimes they'll change their eye colors too. They have a different back history, everything.
different
Just
really?
yeah. So
Okay.
I have
Wow.
clients
Yeah.
all over the world that reach out to me to do a quantum hypnosis session or a sixth sense session,
Mhm.
and many of them are started where they finally wanted to get answers for why their history has changed with their spouse or with their mom or with their family or whatever, or why I had somebody where their best friend had 5 kids and now she only has 3 kids, and she's always wanted to have 2 more kids, but they just decided not to have 2 more kids.
What?
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. She thought she had 5, she lost them because now she's only got 3? I'm
Yeah, in this
confused.
reality, her best friend only had 3 kids. In the other reality, she had 5 kids, and
But
she
does she
telling the
remember both realities?
yeah, and she's telling the version in this reality about her other 2 kids, what they named them, what they were like, all of that. It actually really depressed her friends that she stopped talking about it.
That is nuts. Okay, so this is okay. So we have this going on with all this business that okay, but then we have this personal stuff as we increase our frequency. What does
Uh-huh.
that mean? We decide that we're going to take a look at Pandora's box,
Well,
leave
I
our
told you we're gonna go down the rabbit hole.
all right, we're gonna go there, and
We're
that we're
going
gonna
there.
leave our dog. Let's just say we decide we're going to face it. We're gonna leave our dogma behind,
Mhm.
dadgummit, and we're going to do some work, and we're gonna clean up and be spiritually responsible to really take responsibility for ourselves. And we're gonna try, despite we could have an abusive background, but we're gonna be come from a love and light frequency that the minute that you have the true intention to do that, the true intention, a purity of intention, then all of a sudden, bam, the universe,
Bam.
the universe, the universe goes, okay, and then different timeline, which is why you can be beside someone like a husband or a wife or a child or a friend or a parent or whatever, and you could go, it's still you, but I know I'm changing and I don't blame people. I keep them where they are. It's not, if I get bored and want to, sail around the universe, it's not their fault. I'm cool with that. But, but that's why it feels like you're with a different person. It's not just because you've changed. It's actually you're on a different timeline.
Yeah, you just
Golly, Pete, this is all
you are
complicated.
yeah, you are so here's the easy way to understand it. We tell you in Buddhism all the time,
Man.
focus on your present moment. Focus on your life.
Okay.
Focus on elevating your life. Stop fussing around with all the psyops and everybody else's mama
Oh,
dramas and everything else. Because they're all you're doing is you're wasting your present time and energy and attention on this melodrama and that melodrama that you're not spending much of your day living your own personal life and working on your own personal life and elevating your frequency and your consciousness. But when you start refocusing yourself on yourself, you're going to raise your frequency and you're going to go into a better version of reality where everybody is happy and healthy.
Yeah, I like that. But I think a lot of
Okay?
it has to do with intention, and this
Yeah.
downtown game of duality of whatever
There's
the
nothing wrong with duality. Okay? You need a right and a left and an up and a down.
yeah,
Okay?
but it's a balance. When the balance
It's about balance. It's about balance. That's why we put the right hand and the left hand in the middle up
stops.
to your third eye and kiss the universe for the blessings of our presence.
Yeah, I
But
wow.
yeah, yeah. But anyways, but that is how, in short, how our consciousness creates physical reality. Now, the thing is that if you love someone, you're going to respect their pre-life plan and how they chose to elevate themselves.
Okay, so talk about that because I don't want to leave people hanging. So now that you've gotten people, they're awake and they're like, okay.
No, they're
So
freaking out over their Bibles.
they're freaking out. They're freaking. Well, I'm already over that. I'm like, well, I know that some people they're very what do you call it, pragmatist. Oh, it's God's word; it can never change. But
Some people
aren't
say it's demons, it's the hell, it's the demons.
yeah right? And
Demons.
the thing is, it's I mean,
And
aren't we in
the
the eye
demons
of
really care
God?
so much. What's that?
Aren't we in the eye of God? I mean, why are we defining this
We
as evil? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah, a lot of well, it depends on your perception of of how you see things. Some some people see it as a bad thing. Some people see it like in Islam, they call it the jinn. The jinn can mess around with reality and change things, but they can't take away your memories.
yeah.
They can't mess with us the memories of the soul, but they can mess with the reality around you a little bit, little bit, little bit. That's their perspective in it. Um, in some things, in some traditions, I think it's the devil or low frequency individuals, however, the jinn. Um, in Buddhism, it's consciousness.
It is consciousness.
It's
It is.
consciousness, and you are a fractal expression of source. So the
Yeah,
same ability the source has, you have in a smaller version. You're
absolutely.
just basically source, the universe, God is having all this everything experience. And when it wants to take a vacation, it stops and becomes Tamara.
Yeah, and I know it's a lot. It's heavy for people to admit. You mean I'm part of this creation? I'm like, yeah. You just gave us examples. We're doing this individually and collectively. That's why there's so many of us now going. You know what? I'm choosing the happy version because I really don't want to learn through pain and suffering. I kind of like to do it
Yeah.
like joyfully along the way.
Uh-huh.
Because things will happen, but I want to pick the joyful way, and I'm going to decide, hey, what can I learn from this, and not turn it like, what's that all about? And those people, we're on this whole different trajectory,
Mhm.
which is why we look at our backyard and we see UFOs now all the time. But right, we're on this different thing because we've chosen, I want this better world where we get along and where we can trust one another,
Yeah.
we love one another the way it should be.
And the way to change your reality is to change yourself and let
Yeah, that's it.
whatever reality comes forward.
Well,
Because
that is the most magnificent journey you'll take is the journey of
yeah,
self.
so stop trying to change. There's one of us saying that people say in many traditions, if you want to change the reflection in the mirror, you have to smile.
Yes.
Stop expecting the image in the mirror to change for you. And that's what we're constantly doing is like, I need for like if you're in a relationship it's not good, I need you to be like this, and this. If my career is not good, I need you to be like this. I need this is because of this. We're always looking externally like I really want you to go on this journey, spiritual journey with me, but I can't do it without you. That kind of stuff. All that talk of expecting the external world to cater to you when you're the fractal expression of source creating from your
Mm,
consciousness.
that's some heavy stuff.
Okay. If you
Yeah.
want to change the physical reflection that matches your personal frequency, you have to
Mm.
elevate your frequency so that you create with more clarity and focus.
Well, I like how you're explaining it because it's not just being, love and light. I mean, I'm not against that, but it's about consciousness and consciously creating and consciously understanding what's happening, allowing people to be wherever they are, and that's maybe
Right.
where the love comes in, the love of self, love of others. But it's going to happen. I mean, you tell me what you think, Vaughn. I mean, if you're on a
Yeah.
spiritual journey, because you're definitely, you definitely like me, I get bored easy too. And so you just want to keep going there. You know, we know that there will be people, I don't know who they are, there will be people that we will leave behind, or say behind, or our reality, our consciousness. We have two different realities, but we need to be in a place of love to allow that, because
Uh-huh.
it's all about our journey. But it's going to happen. We can't avoid it. And a lot of people are trying to stop it
Well,
from happening. We can't avoid
well,
it.
okay. What you describe is what they call unconditional love. To love someone enough to allow them their hard knocks so they can pick themselves up and never
Mhm.
repeat that. It's hard to watch
It's very hard.
because as you love them, but sometimes you just can be a cheerleader and a supporter, but they have to meet you halfway. Otherwise, they won't learn their lesson. They'll keep doing it over and over again. These are the conversations that we
I
have in
know.
pre-life
I
planning for
know.
reincarnation.
Hmm.
And the pre-life planners in the spirit world who are pre-life planning and guiding, making suggestions on the excursion or the sojourn that any ancient soul is going to have in this coming into this time of the transition of
Yeah.
the awakening of humanity to the next level of frequency of its consciousness of earth. This is one of the hardest life lessons that they have to
It is.
endure,
It's very hard.
is the lesson of unconditional love.
That it is. And my one of my master teachers is, Jesus. I don't call him Yeshua, because just just what I'm used to.
You're
But
not used to it. I'm used to it. I'm
I'm not
Buddhist. I'm used
I'm
to
not used
Yeshua ben
to it.
Yosef.
But I mean, in other lives I was. But the
Hmm.
thing is, and he talks about this unconditional love. That means despite someone abusing you, despite someone not understanding, despite whatever it is, it's still this love flow, this unconditional. And
Right,
that is
because
really hard to truly do.
that is really hard to truly do because you think it's them, but you have to understand is that it's their consciousness level. So, do you
I
blame a kid, a child, like a baby for throwing milk on the ground, or an adult for throwing milk on the ground? Okay, the adult, you're old enough to know better. The baby, you're conscious enough, you're not there yet. So let's
Yeah.
do some forgiveness, understanding. Forgive them because they do not know what they do.
Do. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll use one of your guys' terms. So, anyways, this is the aspect of unconditional love that's really, really hard is to respect that. So then you go back, you pull back to yourself and your own journey to raise your frequency and go into the highest and highest versions of reality. And when you go into the highest and highest versions of reality in your aura field, you help everybody else because everybody else is connected to one another in the
Yes,
multiverse.
they
They were
are.
all connected to source. We're just having different experiences. One because that's the focus area. But when 1% or not even 1%, when anybody elevates themselves, they pull everything else up with them. So everybody's heart
Yeah.
hurt, their bottoms are raised. Their
Yes.
pains are less. They're still going to experience pain in their hard knocks. It's just going to be less.
So gracious of you going through this. We didn't plan to do the Bible thing, but I was like, hey, that was a good example, and for people to be aware of that. And there's so much more on this if they Google the Mandela effect,
Mhm.
the Bernstein or the Bernstein Bears, and it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so, and then also what they're doing with the portals is a whole other thing. But there's a
Yeah.
lot that you cover also on your channel, and there's more available there. But to know that we can, the higher we go in a love frequency, we're helping ourselves, but we're helping others. We really are.
Right, right. And one of the except for the lesson of unconditional love, which everybody is working on, but also definitely ancient souls that are incarnate as human beings for the first time or like limited times during this time of transition into higher frequencies of consciousness and reality. The thing is the other lesson that they have a hard time with is the lesson of understanding the difference between a loan and a gift. People don't really know what a gift truly is. They think that if okay, so the difference between a loan and a gift. When you take out a loan with a bank, you promise to pay it back. There's
Yeah.
something you're gonna return the return the favor. Okay, you're gonna
Yeah.
pay it back. It's a loan, like a bank loan. When you give a gift, you don't expect that person to behave anyway.
No, you
You're
just give it.
thankful of gratitude. If they do, great, no problem. You don't expect them to give you anything. They don't owe you anything. There's
Right.
nothing attached. You are giving a gift of love to someone in the form of whatever the gift is. You're giving an expression of love in the form of whatever you're giving as a gift. Okay? Love has no conditions back.
You're exactly right.
Ma- Majority of people in this reality think they're giving gifts, but then they get all butthurt when somebody doesn't kiss their ass or give them like a lot of gratitude and thank yous back.
No, you're
We're
right.
mostly giving loans to people. This reality needs to learn to really give true gifts of love.
Yes. Well, you and the time that you shared is a true gift of love. And not just today and not just on the Seeking Heaven channel, but on your own YouTube channel. I mean, people don't realize this, but it is a lot of long hours and
Yeah.
they have no clue. And it takes away from family time. So I don't want to do that anymore. Because I do understand, but people go, "Oh, isn't it great? You make a lot of money." No, no. Usually, the
No.
money does not usually come from. It looks glamorous, but it's a lot of work. And I understand that you're doing this because you do want to using your personality because this is your expression right now
Well,
to
yeah,
help your learnings and your wisdom to help others. So I appreciate that.
yeah. I use a lot of my own funds for marketing efforts, to do my book
Me
covers,
too.
do my own stuff. I produce my episodes myself and all, and so it is a balance to balance time with the family and then
Yes.
my other responsibility, my day job as well. So I do this on the side.
Oh,
And I do this on the side outside of my work hours only is part of my contract for coming in here at this time. Source kind of kicked me out of the spirit world and said, "You got to do some site work." So I was like,
wow.
"Oh," and I was like, "If I'm going to incarnate, I will incarnate. Let me pick which version of existence. I'll incarnate when Earth goes to the fifth dimension consciousness. That sounds good. I'll do that, and I'll work with my clients that are ancient starseed souls coming into the human experience for the first or limited times. I'll work with them when they lose their way and they send them to me, and I will work with them to kind of help them get back on the path. And that's
Now,
what I do with my quantum hypnosis and sixth sense consultations with clients all over the world.
okay, and they can and they can find that on your website, and they can contact you for services and so forth,
Hmm.
and then you can let them know if it's a fit or what they need to do, and then they
Right. Right. I am not the end all be all teacher. I'm only one in your path. When you're done with what you need, we source and your spirit posse is going to reveal to you your next set of training, your next coursework, your
right.
next teachers, your next set of experiences is
Yeah,
going to teach you, and it's just an on evolving thing.
yeah,
So, and that's basically it. So, I do want to close this episode with this one
yeah,
last message that I get from
please.
Source through all of my quantum hypnosis clients, and I put it into this format because they always say the same thing. So, Source God wants everyone to know that you've always been enough. Use the resources all around you to create the life you want to experience, a life full of love and joy. And the spirit world will help you through synchronicity. You can do it.
Okay, this is crazy. You almost channeled I want to cry. You almost channeled exactly what Jesus told me that I have in my fridge. It's almost the same thing. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
Confirmation. That's beautiful. Thank you. You're amazing. You know, I'm a fan. I love you. So that
Maybe next time we will talk about the star seeds
and the new
a-
baby fresh.
and new baby fresh and the six senses that everybody is learning about as they amplify their energy field, and then get a teaser of our future reality that we're all working on credits to incarnate into.
I think it's wonderful. This is a lot to digest. We will do more rounds of fun episodes with you, Vaughn. Please get in touch with Vaughn. Please support her channel, what she's doing. If you feel connected, reach out. And thank you so much from my heart to yours for sharing your beauty.
Mm.
Please subscribe, like, and make comments, and support this channel by becoming a member. Thank you for your continued support.